I can't remember how do I make it both hands.
All right, everyone. Trying one more time.
Yay!
Fingers crossed.
Everybody cross your finger dingers.
Please tell us if you can hear us. Oh!
That was so weird. It was like there was...
I have no idea what just happened.
It was like there was a recording.
It was like the worst.
It was like there's like you said something and it made a recording and then it just like played the recording on repeat.
It was like the worst, like I don't know, like
Fever dream?
Fever dream. I thought I was losing my mind.
That was crazy. And he's like handing me like an earbud and I'm like, no, I hear it.
And you're like, no, I don't want to put that in my ears.
Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome.
Hi. I'm like scared to turn on the music, but I think everything should be fine.
Gosh.
I'm like horrified, but if it's not repeating now, fingers crossed it just doesn't do any more repeating.
Oh my
Hi.
stars. Hi, everyone.
Oh my goodness. What in the world was that? Like, you know, like the panics that start from like your belly button and just like erupt to every appendage.
Yes, I know it well because I just felt it.
Just felt it. I was like, no, not tonight. I need the good vibes.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, friends. Hello, Lilith. Hi, Sulky. Hello. It was 2Gays1 remix from hell.
Yeah, it was...
Anna East, hello, Ivy, Connor, it's so good to see you. Okay.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I am going to attempt to give us just the smallest bit of lo-fi goodness. Because tonight's going to be a good night, and we all deserve some good music to hear in the background. Fingers crossed.
Everybody cross your finger dingers. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Mercury's in Gatorade. No.
No, don't put that ish out into the universe. No.
We're learning about that tonight.
We are going to learn about the universe tonight. We have a really special guest tonight. It's going to be a super cool evening. Nothing has gone the way we've expected it to, but
like all day though.
All day.
Like all day.
People have been like, "Oh my goodness, the new moon energy. I feel refreshed and rejuvenated." And I'm like,
oh my
I want a cookie.
I like seriously, like I don't know if it's the fact that we are like trying to diet or whatever right now, but like today has just been like, it's, you know what today is? Today is one of those days in a video game that you like, that Lilith was talking about the other day when you're like, can I just restart at my previous save point? Like that's what today was.
Is that what today was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I crazy? Was Lilith, were you talking about that the other day?
I
think so.
I can't do the work lurk as well as I'd like to, because I either am like,
you're still very new, so you still have to focus really hard. I'm like full on watching a stream while I'm like teaching a child. No, I'm just teasing.
You please remove children from your vocabulary.
I would love. I know. Why do I keep bringing the children into it?
I don't know.
We're also not having any. But I had so much brain fog today. Yeah. Well.
Hi, Raymundo. Hello. That's not my password to Zoom, I guess.
Return to previous save point. That's what we need. That's what we need in life. Oh no.
Oh, it's because I typed in John Mark. Just everybody collectively, just one big gay scream into the universe.
Okay, but you know what else? Like, this is the It Gets Better project, and let me tell you, tonight we are gonna see in one little stream how it can get
everything
so much better.
Oh gosh, dang it. Knock on wood.
Today has actually been really, really good for me. I even had a friend over. Yes. I did a lot today, but the new moon did not help with that. Connor, I'm so glad you got a lot done. Hello. Good to see you. Ivy, I'm glad that you've had a great day.
I'm so glad that everybody's had a good day. I want to bask in your
good
days. In your good days. So please tell us more.
Oh
tell
my
us.
Gosh.
Tell me more.
It's
Tell
so
me
true.
more. Do you like a new moon? Tell me more. Tell me more. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the It Gets Better stream. My name is John Mark.
And my name is Chris.
We are so honored to be ambassadors for the It Gets Better project, an organization that's been around for over a decade, spreading a message of genuine, perpetual hope, not just to people like me, but all over the world. Like, just so... It's so the finger dingers stretch, so the finger dingers of hope.
I love it.
Spread so far. And I'm so thankful for everybody that is not just an ambassador or focusing on the Twitch aspects of It Gets Better, but the entire organization and the message of hope that they spread. We have a very special guest this evening.
Yes, I'm very excited about this.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this.
I have too. So this whole thing took place over just like one of those days where you're like, you know, I kind of like a day like today where I wasn't even like feeling the best. Like the vibe was off. I've had a pinched nerve in my neck that is just driving me crazy. And so I was like taking a hot bath.
It hath remained.
A hot bath to try and relieve the pinched nerve horribleness. Mm-hmm. And I stumbled upon an Instagram live featuring a good friend of mine's partner, Alan. Ooh, that's a long way to like stumble into this place, but here we are. I'm in the bathtub and I'm just vibing to this great conversation focused around astrology and tarot and just like really understanding like kind of the energies that are spinning around us and genuinely loving the fact that like no matter what you believe about the universe or whatever, like if you've got like a mystical idea or you've got like a magical or like a religious viewpoint, whatever it is, we can all acknowledge that like the things around us carry energy, right? Possess an energy and are magnetic or in lack of much better words, anti-magnetic. Things draw to each other and push each other away all over this universe, and understanding from a perspective of like an astrologer's point of view is just really cool. And I had some really excellent perspective given to me via Alan, and I was just watching. I was like, this person's voice and energy just needs to be more places. And so here we are, trying to make that happen. So what are your thoughts on astrology?
On astrology. I thought you were asking me my thoughts on
baths.
I was reading the conversation that you started about baths.
We do love baths. I love baths.
John Mark loves baths.
I love a good cup of human soup, okay?
I'm not that much of a bath person. I appreciate them. I acknowledge why people love them.
You go, what?
It's not my thing.
It's not your thing?
No.
You tried to make it your thing.
I tried really hard to make it my thing. And then I found myself just like being in the bath and being like, what to do? Yeah, it's just not my thing. I need a giant bath in order. Yes, I think that's actually a valid point. Like the tub that we had at the
any tub we've had has not been big enough.
Our first one.
You're too
our very
tall.
first one.
Oh, well,
That
we had
was a
like
good
a
tub.
we had a nice soaking
That was like
tub.
it was like a
But now okay, so like bath positions is a thing too, like how you like to relax in the bathtub.
Mhm.
And I don't need to get into too much detail about my
No.
time spent in the bath, but it does oftentimes include many contorted ways of putting myself underwater. Because I just like to go underwater and have like the senses be turned
You know what
off.
you need is one of those
Floating.
Yeah,
Can we just put one behind us? Can we make
No,
one of
but
those?
there's like one really close.
Cool. That costs money.
Yeah, it does.
So we have a really great bathtub in our water closet, wash closet,
Water closet
where the mods live.
in the WC.
And I use that instead because I get overly sensitive. I have a big problem with like getting overly stimulus.
I was gonna say you get overstimulated.
That's the word.
Yeah.
really easy. And I just need every once in a while to like wash all of the stimulus off of me.
Boy, that's not where I thought you were going. But I'm glad that's where you went. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought you were headed a different direction, and I was like, oh. And then you said what you said, and I was like, I'm glad you went that way.
Sensory deprivation chambers are awesome, but super expensive. Yes. Have you ever tried a sound bath? One of my friends keeps telling me to try it. I think I would like it, or it would rattle me into a billion pieces. I'm not sure. One or the other, but I think at this moment in time, I'm welcome to both.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is a sound bath?
Our host lady in London did them with like gongs.
Oh, yeah.
And had like the different
see, I
resonating
think that
things.
would be my jam.
Yeah, our Airbnb host in London was one of the coolest people ever.
Oh my gosh.
So cool,
Amazing
and like
lady.
just like a spitfire of a human being. But we had such a good time, and she did it downstairs.
Yes, because
That was her job.
I remember her being like, I have to do this tomorrow, and we were like, what is that? Because we never, I mean, here's a funny story about that, is we never were really clear as to what kind of therapist.
No, we knew what she was.
was?
It was her other tenant that was y'all like London or nah? Okay.
Lilith, are you asking a real question?
Is that a real question? Because yes.
We're obsessed.
We're a little obsessed. Hi, Clint! It's so good to see you.
Hi, Clint. Yeah, we were actually supposed to get married there. Have you heard this story? Forget it.
We'll have to tell that story another time because we have a special
she's
guest.
Joking. I figured she was joking.
We have a special guest here. Alan has arrived,
Yes.
everyone. So tonight is going to be really, really cool. We've got a very special guest. Alan is tiptoeing into the realms of Twitch land. And
tippy tiptoe.
on Instagram, you can find Alan at thedeadpoet22, or on Twitch, the name has been changed very recently to, I saw it, Astrology Pi, P-I. And we're gonna get to know Alan a whole lot better right here, right now. So buckle up, kids. We're gonna go on an adventure.
I almost said something about the children again. What do they have to do with it?
I
I believe they're the future. We should teach them well and let them lead the way. That's what I think.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. I love him so much. I love him so.
At least somebody
How do I
does.
make that the whole screen? How do I get rid of this?
What?
Hi, Alan. I don't know if you can. Hi. I'm still troubleshooting because
I can hear you. Wait, are you just okay? I know. Can I?
I want to make this window the only window.
Heard.
And then, oh, look at you. I love technology. It's the best. Everybody, we're going to figure this out.
Is that all I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you now. Okay, so Alan might be a little off center for our window, but we'll get there. We'll get there in 2 seconds, everybody. Here comes Alan. There's an Alan. Bum, ba-da, bum, bum, bum,
Oh my
goodness. It's on. We're on It Gets Better, Twitch's stream tonight. So twitch.tv/It Gets Better. You're like hanging. You're like, where? 2Gays1Twitch. You live? Knock knock. Hello.
Anna East, I didn't even realize it until just this moment.
This is It Gets Better.
Like the It Gets Better project.
Oh, you can't hear him. Hold on. Select a speaker. Yes, in just 1 second. Hold on 1 second. We're all of the technical difficulties today. Yay! Can you see you? Can you see and hear me clearly, Alan? Great.
I can't.
Chris is laughing because I was making a work joke, and we've had nothing but work woes today. But now I need to figure out where to get which speaker I need on.
Okay,
One
while
second,
he's doing
friends.
that, Anna East, I didn't even realize that he asked me to do something technical.
Yeah, so you'll see our face. You'll hear us in real time, I believe, but our faces might be a little behind for this interaction.
Don't pay attention to our faces, Alan.
we gotta love technology, right?
The name.
Yep, everything will be okay. Hold on one
Everything
second.
will be okay.
Everything's gonna be alright.
QQ!
Let's see.
In the meantime,
put
I'm
you
just gonna
here.
smile at you all.
All right, Alan, would you mind trying?
I know, right?
Can stream hear Alan now?
Testing. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
All right.
I'm ordering Taco Bell. What does everyone want? Sulky, yes.
Alan, can you see the It Gets Better chat?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, I think everything is almost in place. Would you mind introducing yourself to the stream and say, and also let everyone know your pronouns so that everybody can address you?
Of course. I'm Alan Mitchell. I'm an astrologer based in Orlando, Florida. I go by him, he, girl. I don't care. I'm really flexible.
We love it. We love fluid. Fluid is wonderful.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you here. I'm sorry for all of like the technical difficulties that we've been experiencing this evening, giving us all of the fun.
It's no problem at all.
Everyone says
I completely
"Hello,
get
that. So look at your
Hey,
beautiful
Sophie.
setup over there. I love this. Is that
it's my Zen place, where I, this is where I do my readings and interactions when I do my Zoom meetings from my astrology work that I do.
Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. It's so cozy.
It's really nice. It's really nice. And you share this space with a very good friend of 2G1T, Adamantium. Yes?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So if anybody from the 2Gays1Twitch land is wondering how this all came to be, well, Alan is, all
Thank
partnered
you.
up and hanging out with Adamantium full time.
Full time.
They like each other a whole lot. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I guess so. A little bit.
Most days.
Oh yeah, we have a great relationship. I love it.
Adam is
Lila
just,
Fox, thank you. I got it on Amazon. My plant.
Oh, the shelf in the back?
Yeah.
it's
It's
so
so cute.
It's so cute. It looks like a moon, and I'm obsessed. I just want a space that is mine, and not like that I can just do anything. He's
You
gonna argue.
can.
He's gonna argue, and he's gonna be like, "You can do whatever you want to this space." But I mean, like
Yes.
a space where I can like close the door and I can sit down
Oh.
and close my eyes.
Yeah, you can't
and
do
like
that.
block out. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
bathtub.
that's a secret to a great relationship. Adam has his own space. I have my little, space in here, and I completely have it just the way that I want it, and we're cool with that.
I love that. I one day will have that again. But it's so nice.
Yeah, you have like a small apartment is that in Chicago?
Yeah, it's actually technically a 2-bedroom apartment. It's actually really quite large. Most of it is just real open, and the stream setup that we have now is just right in the middle. Like you cannot get to any point in the apartment without crossing through this space. And
Which I do frequently.
which you do frequently, with or without pants on at some times.
No,
so we have
I always
to be,
have pants on because I know.
You know better. There is
I
a
know
very
better.
large camera here that you do
Yeah.
not want to not have pants on for.
Yeah.
You don't
It's
want
all,
any slip ups, huh? Or you're like,
No.
it's not the kind of fame I'm looking for.
Yeah, no. It's not the kind of viral I want to go. Wait.
Well, do you want to go any viral? Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you discover astrology? Where did this come from? And at how early in an age?
Astrology has always been a part of my life since I was younger. I think a lot of it is because I'm a very curious person. I was like a why kid growing up. It's like, why do we do this? Why is that the way it is? And in searching for that answer, I feel like we naturally look to the heavens. I mean, I feel like humanity since the beginning of time has looked towards the sky for answers. I mean, we depend on the sun to what we want to wear,
Yeah.
So like if it's hot or if it's cold, it depicts like pretty much our entire existence of how we interact. with the outside world. And I always been interested in astrology and kind of like horoscopes. You know, I'm a Pisces, so I'm
Welcome to your
naturally
season.
interested in the metaphysical, you know, feelings and sensitivities of other people's energies. But it wasn't until a few years ago that I really started, instead of just having a hobby, of taking a deep dive and studying it, and graduated from the Deborah Silverman Applied Astrology School. And it helped me kind of bridge that gap of the human condition.
Oh,
It was like,
will you say the name of the school one more time?
yeah, Deborah Silverman Applied Astrology.
Awesome. I'm like writing that down because I want to look into it.
Well,
but go
I
on.
love the way she teaches because it's in bite-sized bits, and you don't have to know anything about astrology. Nothing.
Mm.
And then you can like graduate with like understanding so much more. They have different levels. They have 1, 2, and 3. But it takes it's about a 6-week course for each level.
Oh, nice.
Besides level 3, I think that one is only a 4-day.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
It keeps happening.
I'm the technical difficulties. Hey, will you tell us? You said it in an Instagram message as we were having our technical difficulties. What is in alignment with what that is not technologically friendly?
Yeah, well, usually a lot of this stuff happens during Mercury retrograde, but Mercury right now is in Aquarius, and it's exact degree with Saturn. So Saturn rules constriction, and Mercury rules intellect, how we perceive information and receive information. So technology is a part of that. And it's in Aquarius, so Aquarius is the rebel of the zodiac. So think of unconventional, think of being gay, think of anything that breaks the rules. So when you have communication just breaking the rules and the constriction of Saturn, it kind of makes that wonky communication problems, technologies going kind of a little haywire. So that could be the influence that we're experiencing right now with that combination.
That is so fascinating.
It really is. Like, I mean, I was saying before you came on, I just love how you like there's a skeptic in everyone about certain things. And I love what you said about being a Pisces and how you are always looking for the why. And I don't know that Pisces is necessarily in my chart at all, but like I have always felt very I grew up in a extraordinarily Baptist upbringing, and
same.
And everybody had a definite answer for everything. This is the definite, and we are not here to bash or to degrade any sort of religion or anybody's upbringing. However, for me, every solid answer seemed to put like God in a box, and I thought that was counterintuitive to everything we said about God and the big universe and what that is. And so like the older I've gotten, the more I've just been like, I feel as if we're doing this backwards. We should be asking, like, we should be looking for the questions and looking for the unanswerable wonder and not necessarily trying to restrict it all, if that makes any sense to you. And so I just
it makes 100% complete sense to me because I grew up Southern Baptist. I understand the conservative mentality of people like that, especially on a personal level within my own family. I just recently was with my brother, and you know, I was testing him to tell him like what I've been doing with the astrology because it is important and part of my life. He is a Southern Baptist preacher. Okay. And as I told him, he kind of just was looking at me and he says, "You're messing with some dangerous stuff." You know?
That's what I was about to say. I remember, you know, when I was younger, like astrology being like something you stayed away from. Like,
oh yeah, like 5-year-old me looking at 30-something-year-old me with a pack of tarot cards sitting next to him is screaming in terror. Like
even saying things like the other day, I said something to, I think it was my sister. I said something about like, oh, and that's how you can tell I'm a Libra. And like the look on her face was like,
what?
What?
And that's okay. Like, I mean, it's
So
just
your
like
sister's a Libra?
No, she is not.
Oh,
when is her
I am a Libra.
okay. Are
No,
you both Libras?
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh yes. It's wonderful and problematic at
Yes.
the
Oh
same
my
time.
gosh.
All
Wow.
of that. All of that.
Uh,
Alan's like, oh my gosh, wow. And then suddenly we lose the
Well,
connection.
as soon as someone tells me their sign, I immediately start thinking of how does that energy show up for you? Because one thing I know is like you're so much more than your sun sign because it only describes your ego. And that is one part of the huge piece because you have 9 other planets, including the sun and the moon, that are giving you certain energies because astrology is actually star speech. It's understanding a new language. And how do those energies, such as gravity and its energy, affects our internal and external world? The other planetary bodies also have an effect on our personality. And it's so funny because I love to, hear people saying, I don't really think that I'm a Libra for in your case, or like they feel disconnected because they'll read a horoscope and they're like, that's not me. And it's true. You can't, split 8 billion people into 12 different categories.
right.
But that's only one piece because there's so many different things that you can just see in a birth chart that really gives you an understanding, like your moon or your rising, because those describe your emotional body and your soul.
Anna E says, as someone who is technically an Aries and doesn't jive with anything I've ever read about it, I didn't think much of astrology until I started looking into my actual chart. And my whole world, and
Yes.
we're gonna I think we're gonna talk about it a little more in a bit, but my whole world changed drastically when I discovered my Aries moon and the Taurus,
yeah.
and like because I'd looked at the Libra and I'd been like, wow, Libra, I don't like much about it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I get that.
And I felt
and there's a lot
very-
of misconceptions about stuff that you read out there, honestly, because it's not very nice. A lot of it is a little, mean.
Well, it's like, especially in meme world, like anything you see on the internet that's like projecting or talking about what somebody's sign is, it's gonna look for like the wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like dark side of that aspect.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Or something to make it look funny, or yeah.
Right. And then so like everybody's like, oh, you're both Libras, you can't make a decision, can you? And we're like, correct.
Valid, but-
However, there are other aspects of us that we would like to discuss.
Well, and see, I actually know very little about my actual chart.
You have your whole. We found your whole chart.
We found it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it other than that I'm a Libra.
You don't remember your moon or your rising?
No.
Well, pull up that app, because we did do it that one day, and we can talk about it in a bit.
Okay.
Because I want to remember. I don't remember. I think you're like a double Libra.
I am.
Oh wow. A lot of air.
So much air.
When I saw the name of your Twitch, I said 2Gays1Twitch. Well, that makes sense. I bet they're Libras. And when you said that, I was just like, okay, that explains it. Because
What made that connection for you?
well, Libra has everything to do in tandem. They're like, let's share this, let's share that, let's do it together. So it also rules like listening. They love to listen. They love to get on. Like when you're doing Twitch, you're like, I want to go on and play video games, but I want to do it with everyone. Like it's like that. I want to share my life with someone. So it's working in tandem and working together, working for peace and harmony and balance. It's on a low level, you can become a bit of a people pleaser because you're trying to restore balance when everything around you is disruptive and you can't handle disharmony.
That is like so much nicer a spin on anything I've ever heard about myself. So thank you. No, it's just fascinating. Like,
I have to give permission slips. That's one thing that I do. I give you the permission slip to be yourself without shame. And I give you the spectrum of the high and low road of your sign because I let you and your free will kind of bring into awareness what is reflective of that energy do I see in myself.
Mm.
You know?
Absolutely.
That's so
Absolutely.
good.
So we asked how you found astrology and how you kind of tumbled into it, and we also talked about a little bit of our upbringing. But one of the things I mentioned talking about to you before is like kind of when did Alan, on your journey, we are on the It Gets Better stream, but when on your journey did mixing in your queerness jump into all of this story? Where and how did that maybe help? Did astrology help that at all, or?
Oh, absolutely. The biggest thing with astrology, it gives you the permission to be yourself without judgment and shame. It kind of gave me that, oh, I'm like this for a reason, because in your chart you can see signatures that make you queer, or an unusual sexuality, or something that isn't quote unquote normal, because there is energies that push us to progress the growth of our soul and the human nature. So like being queer goes back way when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Like I just knew.
Really?
It came before astrology. Astrology came later, that started plugging in the pieces and reflecting my life to make it make more sense.
I love that. I love that. And then so at 5, were you comfortable family knowing, or did you know the vocabulary?
I had a very interesting upbringing with that, because my mom is gay.
What?
Yeah.
Go on.
My mom was gay, but she didn't come out until I was older.
Okay.
And it was something she struggled with that was unknown to me. I also have a gay uncle, her stepbrother.
Interesting.
Or half brother. It's her brother, but they have the same mom but different, or same dad and different moms. So it is in the family. And I didn't really come out until I was like a teenager. You know, that's when because I remember having a conversation with myself, because I was so scared. You know, I was like, I'm gay. I'm never going to accept that. Like, I just couldn't. I felt like I was like maybe 12 or 13 when I really was like, I think I am, but I just don't know how to deal with it. But I knew at a young age, because I remember just really crushing on guys. It was so funny, you know, but I didn't know what, you know, sexuality was. I just knew like, that guy's really cute. And I like, but I think that girl's kind of cute too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't realize that I really liked her outfit instead.
I remember because of the upbringing and because of like being kept away from so many different conversations to protect in their own way. I just knew that I wanted to be like that guy's best friend. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be your best pal. I didn't also know that I wanted to kiss you on the lips, but I wanted to go everywhere with you, and just, I don't know, I wanted to be everybody's Samwise Gamgee. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
it's hard to differentiate that energy at that age.
yeah, I
do
just
I want to be your best friend, or do I want to kiss you, or maybe both?
Why not all of it?
Yeah.
Ivy in chat says that their mom is bi. That's awesome. I don't know. My parents are just, they just come from I don't know. They're, what do you call it? Cut from a different cloth or something? What? It's just the conversation.
Well, they're different
is very
generations.
confusing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a generational difference as well.
That plays a lot into astrology as well. There are certain energies that you possess because of the outer planets. They move so slow. Like Pluto, for instance, takes 248 years to travel around the sun. And anything after Saturn is considered generational planets because they move so slow.
Oh, wow.
And during those generations, there were other energies that changed the collective. For instance, the age of Aquarius during the 60s, there was the Aquarian age. It's about, let's liberate, let's free ourselves, let's get away from the norm and really open up. And then you had the 70s, which was all about, the peace, the love, the groovy kind of stuff. That was that Libra energy. That was like all about harmony. So those were the different generations. And if you go back to the 50s, that was the more conservative, where women were told to be in the kitchen. The men went to work. There was a very conservative structure of things based on Saturn, which was generational. So there is a reason for each generation and how those energies are expressed in our parents.
And what about now? Where are things now?
Interestingly enough, so we're talking about Saturn here because Saturn rules our life lessons. It rules a lot of our physical world. It's the physical plane, the world that we live in. And the generation of this energy right now is in Aquarius. And that's where you're getting that he, she, them, they, it's the liberator. It's the let's break the social norms. Let's break the social structures. I'm the rebel. I want to break free and do something different. Let's do the Me Too movement. Black Lives Matter. Let's rise up out of this suppressive nature that society has put us under, and let's move forward in a more humanitarian way. So Aquarius rules humanitarian. It rules the activist.
I love that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's so fascinating because it's so and how long would you say we've been in that turn of events?
So you heard about the age of Aquarius, which is associated with the planet Uranus, and Saturn right now is in Aquarius. So those are kind of like the generational energies that are happening. But this happened back in the 60s. So all this structure has been changing when the dawning age of Aquarius, which lasts for a couple thousand years, the celestial change. Wow. Yes. This hasn't happened since the Renaissance, when we came out of the medieval dark ages, and then boom, the progression of art and all this other stuff that came out of the woodworks. So I would expect the same thing, because back in 2020 or 2021, I can't remember, we had the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. So that's what really started changing.
Because I remember some of. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I just remember that conversation with Jupiter and Saturn came up on each other, and it was came up on each other like they at the club. But they were but I remember that being a moment that people were like, this is a big deal. Mm-hmm. And gosh, to be able to just to be able to make sense of it, because it's so anytime somebody's it's a new moon today, right? And I shut me up if I'm being completely moronic here, but
no, I love crazy questions. Be moronic. I'm moronic. Let's be moronic together.
Yay! People are always like, I get so excited about the new moons and the full moons. And correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it flip flop on you? Don't you kind of feel better on a full moon for half of the year and better on a new moon for the other half of the year? Somebody told me that. I don't know. Today, my new moon energy is not great.
I'm not sure about that, because the new moon and the full moon are two different things. The new moon is all about intention. It's like planting the seed and watching it grow throughout the month. And on the full moon, it blossoms. So the intention you set on the new moon actually goes into fruition and manifests during the full moon.
I love that. I love that. I don't know, for the most part, I would say that on a full moon, my thoughts are always jumbled, but full moon is just even more so. And then I'm usually on a new moon, I'm good vibes. I don't know.
Each new moon and full moon's different because it'll be in different signs. So if I look at your chart and I see how's it being expressed in your chart, depending on where the new moon or full moon is taking place, the energy will completely shift month to month when that's happening. So it may not be consistent every new moon and every full moon.
Clint says, and all those cancers out there love a full moon while the new moon is such a drain on them. See, that's usually how I've usually am. Yeah. But anytime somebody like, I was talking about like skepticism, and sorry, please.
No.
jump in.
I'm fascinated. I'm just listening.
But anytime like the skepticism just like follows or folds in, like it just, the moon is such an easy reference to me, as obviously it like drags the ocean back and forth across the planet.
Yes,
like,
I think it's because you can see it.
That energy.
You can see that
me.
energy at play on our Earth, and I think that's what makes it so much more tangible. Because I think you said you're a Taurus. You have some Taurus in you.
Mm-hmm.
Taurus needs
rising.
practicality. If you have any Earth in your chart, it says, because Taurus rules the five senses. I want to touch, smell it, taste it, feel it, and I'll believe it. Otherwise, I don't care about it. You have to prove it to me. Like all the Earth signs are like that. They're rooted in facts. They're like, if you can prove it to me, then I can get on board. But if you're just asking me to feel things and stuff, it takes a lot. That's more of a water trait. But if you're looking at air signs or earth signs, they're more logical and they're going to need proof. And so anytime I do a reading, I look at where their Mercury is at, because that rules their communication and how they perceive information. So I try to get in their level. If I see a watery Pisces, I know that I need to be a little more sensitive. I need to talk more slower. I need to pause when I say something so that they can sit and let themselves feel it and then speak and give them that room. But if it's an earth sign, sometimes those are tough readings, because I feel like I spend a lot of the time trying to prove something to them. And I don't want to do that, because I'm not trying to prove you anything.
Right.
You don't have to believe in astrology. It believes in you. It's, one of the oldest sciences.
Oh, I am digging this conversation.
Are you?
I have to be honest. Like, I know very little about it. Like when I joke around and say all I know is that I'm a Libra, that's literally all I know.
I still am in awe. I'm a skeptic. I still feel like a skeptic, because I was like, gosh, this is so crazy. But when you start realizing the patterns and the rhythms of our energies and the exchanges, then all that practical stuff is now making more sense. Like the facts are coming together that show that there's some validity to this, because it's lasted over 5,000 years.
Man, I have so many questions, and everything just wants to explode all at once.
I know that's what happens, when you start like, how do you structure your thoughts? As an air sign, it could be like, I'm all over the place. Oh my God.
What?
I just want to know more.
So you said you found astrology a little later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Knew you lived under the queer umbrella quite early in life, but how has, for you personally, I don't know, we can dig more into like my signs and maybe Chris's signs too, but like, how has this, we're always like looking, right? We're always like looking to understand ourselves and understand others. How has this like, what would you say like an answer, if there was any answers, or what are some doors that were unlocked into understanding yourself thanks to astrology?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing was me finally having compassion for the human condition and saying, wow, you can't express yourself because you're missing water, or you have so much water that it freezes and you can't speak and you become nonverbal. And it gives me the permission to stop judging others or putting pressure on myself, because I'm not like everyone else. I'm like, duh. And I can see it in a chart, and it reflects exactly. I studied my chart like crazy in order to find the validity myself, because I know me and I know how I am. And if it's not something that's going to make sense, if it's not something that I would have thought really reflected truth, I would have thought, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm glad I'm into it. But now I'm just like, what a gap from like understanding myself to now really realizing that there's some truth out there.
Yeah.
It kind of closed that gap and made me have a better, deeper understanding of people. And I love that because I love people and I love helping people and I love bringing compassion and understanding to people's lives. It's one of my intentions of why I really took a deep dive. And I was also trained by a psychotherapist of 40 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I just read Lilith's comment, and I actually had the same thought just a little bit ago when you were talking about when you do readings for people and you say, I kind of give them the high and the low, like, and leave it that wide and open to interpretation for themselves to figure it out. Because this has kind of been how I felt about it. Like Lilith says, I appreciate how you emphasize how open to interpretation so much of it is. My resistance to astrology has always been not liking the feeling of being put into an unchanging box. And I really identify with that. I mean, along with like all of the baggage of my youth about how wrong astrology is and how that still like has its way of like creeping into your psyche even when you're 87 years old like I am. But like I really, the one thing that has really kind of turned me off to doing more research about it myself is the only thing anybody ever says to me when I say that I'm a Libra is, oh, so you can never decide where to eat. And I'm like, yep, that's it. That's
but like, you know, they're building the momentum of things that they've heard.
Sure, absolutely, sure.
Dive in it.
But that's what I'm saying. I love.
I was a skeptic. I went into this as a skeptic, but I am a person that is big on self-development, and that's part of my chart. A lot of Aries energy. It's about self. So it's on a high road. There's self-developing, understanding you and you on an intimate relationship with yourself. And I had the same thing. Like, I didn't understand why people would, you know, I didn't really believe in it. And I felt like, you know, I didn't want to be put in a box. And it wasn't until I understand, you know, bridging free will and astrology together and realizing I'm reading potential. You know, you decide how that energy shows up. I will guide you to your truth. And I can kind of look at some karmic debt and some life lessons of why you're here and help you move a little bit more comfortably in your life to give you permission to be yourself. So I completely get that. And I do leave that open on purpose because I can't take away free will. And some people specialize in predictive astrology. Some people even do medical astrology. Literally, the sky's the limit. And I do more of the esoteric astrology. So that's the evolution of your soul and personal growth.
Ooh, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. I read potential. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and you know, I also let people know when I say something and I'm looking at the chart, and I also get intuitions. I have a little bit of psychic hits or downloads, and I'll say something and I can see the pause in the person, and I can definitely see that maybe they don't quite resonate. And I usually let them know, I say, give it time. You have not lived the necessary life experiences to resonate with what I'm saying, but keep that in the back of your mind, you know?
For when you do, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the problem. I've done even younger kids, and
really,
they haven't, you know, like 20-year-olds. I mean, I'm 37, so I say younger kids in that way. But they haven't lived enough life to know how is their personality being expressed, because they're trying to find out at this exact moment we're having this conversation or this reading.
Sorry if I keep looking at something weird, but my microphone gain keeps going up and down on its own.
Y'all.
And it's just bizarre.
Happening. We're not really touching it and it keeps changing.
It's literally going down now. I don't understand. Stop being weird.
The energies are trying to mute us.
Stop being so queer.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, we sound great though.
Lilith, you know this microphone. It's the Wave 3, and it just keeps
It's seriously like it has a mind of its own.
It seriously is just doing its own thing.
Yeah.
Welcome in, new follower. Hello, hello. It's nice to have you. Thank you for hitting the follow button for It Gets Better. To anybody who may be stumbling in here tonight, I just want to do a little refresher of a introduction. Twitch streams are kind of a revolving door of people coming in and out. So my name's John Mark.
And my name's Chris.
We are 2Gays1Twitch on another stream elsewhere in Twitch, but we are proud to be ambassadors for It Gets Better, and we have the one and only Alan here today talking to us all things astrology, and it's really, really, really fascinating and wonderful. And Saturn is just screwing with my technology today.
It's very bizarre.
Some unpredictable energy out in the heavens. Yeah.
Right? So tell us more esoteric is the word.
Yeah. So what I do like esoteric astrology. So that's the more of the, or evolutionary astrology. That's more of an esoteric language because it's only known by a select few. That's what esoteric means. So I do more of the psychology. I call it unconventional therapy is what I call it. Because I use your chart as a guide map. So it's your cosmic blueprint of who you are. Salem says hello.
Hi, Salem.
Hi.
Oh, Salem.
Sweet kitty.
He just made an appearance. Sorry.
So sweet.
And I use that as a means to help you understand yourself. So I use it as a way to close the gap between you and you, because we put so much pressure on ourselves to be a certain way or to live through the expectation of others to the point where we don't even know who we are. And sometimes we need guidance. We need to know that we're on the right track, you know? I feel like collectively, we all want to be included and loved and to be understood or to feel like someone listens. So I create a safe space where you're not being judged. We talk about what you want to talk about on the level of your comfortability. And I sometimes bring up stuff or see things in your chart where I think maybe tension or things that you've dealt with. But I start off describing your personality and maybe some certain dates in time that might be significant to kind of help you or validate that it's real. So there will be like, how did you know that about me? You know? So I bring them into feeling comfortable by describing them a little bit. And then I allow them to like start speaking their truth if they're ready to open up about stuff going on with their parents, or like I say, there's tension between them and their family, and that's one of your karmic lessons. You know, what is the relationship between you and your sister? Is there something going on there? And they usually say yes or no, or you know, depending on the person, I try to align the questions according to what I get a feel from them.
Interesting.
Based on the,
I don't want to disrespect anybody. You know, everyone has their own personal boundaries.
Sure, of course. Based on the information that we've shared about my chart, is that something you're able to do? Or
yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, I get more detailed understanding how those energies are expressed, but I can like generally describe those energies like your sun, moon, and rising. But to be more specific on your chart, I would have to know your time of birth and like pull up the chart and see how the geometry looks with the expression of every planet.
I want to say it was 7:15.
Oh, I know mine exactly.
You know yours?
Exactly. Are you ready? Is
Well,
it time? No.
I don't know. I don't know if it's.
Should we text?
Is it time? He's like, I want to know more about me.
I do. I'm
It's
fascinated.
fascinating. You are your like fascinating subject. Like, if we knew how badly we wanted to be here, I feel like our lives would change. Like, my personal belief is that we are eternal beings and that we don't have a soul. We are a soul. We have a body, and the body is the home of our soul.
So I do have Clint in chat is very helpful in reminding me how CoStar works. I do know my birth time, but I don't know if it's worth telling you at this point. But I was.
Oh yeah, I don't mind at all. I can plug it into my little software right here and like pull it up.
But everything I told you, did I tell you the dates and everything? I might text you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's
specifics.
text all of those things.
Over to you in the whatchamacallit? It's on the Instagrams. Just so you know, we're not doxing ourselves entirely here in Twitchland, with birthdays and times and all that stuff. But I sent you a little message. It's got my stuff in there. But I was hesitant. If it doesn't tell you all sorts of things, I was hesitant on discovering my birth time because I'd have to reach out to certain family members that I haven't spoken to in a hot minute. So,
we would have a great session talking about family stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, I always tell people you don't have to deal with it this lifetime, but they're gonna come back as your lover, and you're just gonna have to deal with it then.
Oh God. What does that
so
mean?
I was just
for
like,
us?
that should be enough to like try to figure it out now.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I get that. I get that because we're so prideful and we're so like, you know, you being a Libra is like, why would I put myself in a position to feel less than? I don't know your personal stuff with this person, but like I get that. Like I could see why, you know, you set certain boundaries.
Should I send you something like this?
We can see if we have time for it.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. So yours would be in the same
I
place?
see that you said your birth time is at, 8 p.m. So is that like a general reading? I mean,
That
very
is-
rarely is anybody born on the dot, you know?
That is what my mother said when I filled out my co-star the first time, back a long time ago. So it might not be exactly 8.
Which is fine, like,
But Chris does know his exact
I know my
time.
exact.
And this is the one over here. This is the one we'll get some cute. Pull that up again.
Okay.
Do you want me to, like, I can do the 8. It doesn't matter. I would just say, I would probably generalize a lot of stuff because I don't like to give information that wouldn't be true. You know what I mean?
Right. So I mean, I'll send you Chris's since that is much more. He knows exactly what time. He's also a Libra. Birthdays so close together. But just me.
Yeah. Where are you? Where's just you? There we go.
Technology.
I love that. I love people getting excited. Like, who wouldn't want to know more about themselves? Like,
Right?
that's the thing. When I do readings, I was like, I always say, we get to spend a whole hour talking about you. How does that sound? Some people look terrified.
I just think it's fascinating. And like what drew me, and I don't know if you heard me talking about discovering you that day you were doing a tarot reading with your friend. Was she from Australia?
She's from England. Yeah, the UK.
There goes my credibility as someone who can pinpoint an accent. However, it was just fascinating, and like the things that like just I don't know, just I was just overcome with like how beautiful it is to be able to discover oneself just by looking up.
Oh
right?
yeah,
And, like,
absolutely.
And especially with our relationship with It Gets Better and all of the beautiful people that it's brought us in touch with, just how many not queer human beings are just like looking for a little bit of understanding about why they are the way
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing. You know, I want to help people to stop shaming ourselves. You know, like we live 90% of the time in our head. You know, we should ourselves this. We're not living up to that expectation. I tell people you are where you are. You know, that's okay. You know, the fact that you even just woke up or decided that you wanted to continue on this life is enough for me to say, congratulations, you're doing the human thing. It doesn't matter. Stop comparing yourself to everyone else.
Yes. Ooh.
So
What was that?
is that say October?
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm not trying to. I'm plugging in the information, so sorry if it looks like I'm
you're
not
fine.
looking or paying attention.
No, you're good.
I'm 87. No, I'm just teasing.
87.
I'm
years
87
old.
years old. Do the
10,
math.
20. You
No,
were
I'm
born the
just teasing.
20th. The 20th, right? October
Yes,
20th.
that is correct.
So we I don't know. I think it's there's so many of us that question why things have happened the way they did, or are displeased with the way things went.
Yeah.
I wish a million times over that like my coming out story could have been a little bit different.
Yeah.
But the more and the older I get and the more self-discovery like I lean into, the more I come to be able to be extraordinarily satisfied and thankful for the way everything went down. And it's just been fascinating to me. Like, I would call myself like barely surface level student at this point, but probably Anna, Issa, and I are signing up for your
The school.
as we speak. But my understanding and what I am able to uncover has been so freeing, and just like you said, like getting off my own back about the way things just are sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and it's hard to find a safe space for you to be vulnerable because nobody wants to feel judged. I mean, it's hard to bare your soul and your heart and to show up for people to say things. I mean, even when you're on Twitch or something, or someone says a comment, I mean, it hits you a certain way, and then all of a sudden it could be like a trigger word of something like, religion or God used to be a trigger word for me. Like, I had no spiritual practice because I was so disturbed about how religion was portrayed the way I was growing up, because it taught me that I didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so religion to me was just bullshit, if I can say that.
You can.
And it really was hard for me to find that spiritual part because there almost didn't seem like a path that sat well with me that made sense.
Absolutely.
Religion. It was really hard, and it was a little lonely. It made me feel a little detached, where I couldn't really relate to anybody.
I definitely too went through a long period in my like later 20s, because I would say like right after everything went down with me and my family and I was kind of outed rather than coming out, I spent a lot of time trying to convince myself that the two worlds were going to live harmoniously. I mean, like, and really sacrificing really big parts of myself to make that work. And then after that period, going through like a real big resentment where I too couldn't say God. I couldn't, but I also couldn't negate the idea of more than me, if that makes any sense. So I started finding other words, and I for a period of my life, I really leaned into the idea of just calling it magic. If it's Disney magic, or if it's
cool.
or if it's universe magic, or if it's just serendipity,
it was your
is magic.
Word that made sense to you, that was universal.
Yeah, and something that just would work for the time being. And I've actually kind of adopted more of an acceptance for the language. Like, I feel as if something hurts us and we want to take a big step away. If you put your hand on a hot stove, you take a big step away from it, and you realize that I put my hand on something hot and that's not the stove's fault. It's, in a sense, I've come to be able to step up.
I love that analogy. That's true. So like, the stove is like the religion, or like whatever.
Yeah. And for me, I am able to be within proximity of the God terminology all over again. With a different awareness of how it works. You don't put your hand on the thing that hurts. And so, for me, it has helped. Over at 2Gays1Twitch, we say all the time, we want to create a space for everybody to feel seen, heard, and celebrated. And that includes the people that I don't understand. Almost more so than the people I do. Because we have put such a giant wall between ourselves and the things that have hurt us. That I've kind of been, the point in life that I'm in now is tiptoeing back across bridges and trying to mend the bridge so that people can, I'm doing this with my hands, like kind of like find common ground again, and like I don't know, this to me, if people are willing to have an open mind to astrology, is almost one of the most practical ways of looking at it.
It is.
To me.
It can be, yeah. And it takes a while for, people to maybe understand that, because there is a science to it. But I don't try to convince anybody. It's not my job to convince anybody, I've released my expectations of others a long time ago, and I'm so much more thankful and being myself and who I am now, because I feel like the highest expression of love is to give without expecting. And I do it because I want to, and I do it because I love you. I don't care if you thank me or not. I own that about me, and it's and the astrology is like, it helped bridge that gap of like not understanding each other, because I can be with my brother and I have such a good time with it. And, there's a part of him that hates me, and I don't care, There's a part of him that will never understand that me being gay has nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
And I do believe that, and I was thinking about this earlier before I got on here, like, do we choose to be gay? Yes and no. And let me explain that. Like, I don't choose to be gay. I choose to live a gay lifestyle, and I choose to live an open gay life,
Yeah.
But I don't choose that it's who I am or part of who I am.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that resonates big
So
time
much.
with the
And
two boys from
and it's
Christian upbringings.
and it's one of the hardest. I mean, that resonates so strongly with me, because it's one of the hardest things that one of the biggest things that my family and I had to overcome before we've kind of found this new version of our family,
Harmony.
which is this new harmony of our family, which is healthy for the first time in
a lot of years.
maybe my whole
Yeah.
life. I mean, I don't want to make like such a huge general statement like that, but seriously, I lived
Yeah,
so
please
much.
make that. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Let me tell you something. When someone who is gay, or someone who is in their family maybe feeling like they're the only one, do you realize how big of a teacher you are?
Mhm.
And I do, like, especially in my reading and like, hearing your story like that, which you just shared with me. Thank you for sharing, because I know how hard that can be. It's a very hard, sometimes even lonely path. Some people check out, people get very suicidal. There's a lot of friends and family or people that I've lost due to some sort of mental anguish, such as, being gay or being silent about it, or scared that they're going to disrupt their family unit. But it's reframing your relationship with that, saying, you know what, do you realize how big of an impact you're making it on your family's life, because you're tearing down these conservative structures and ideas, and you're showing them that there's nothing wrong with being gay, and you were the soul that came into their lives to teach them that.
Ooh. I am feeling the feelings.
I mean, it's true. Like, you came in as a higher, emotionally evolved soul, not knowing it, that I'm going to go down there and I'll play the whole human game, and I will try to push people's boundaries, but I'm going to need the little help as well. So, like, when I see certain signatures in a chart, I usually let them know certain gifts as well. But you came here to help push those boundaries in your family unit and break that cycle.
He's looking at your chart,
about
boo-boo.
that.
I've always loved, you just touched on it, but I've always been a huge fan of the X-Men, as I'm sure your household appreciates as well. But the I don't know if allegory is the right word, but I just love the parallels to the mutant race and how they are treated in this comic book story fashion, but how just blatantly queer it is. And like the just the evolution, like you said, like an evolved soul coming down to play the human game with everybody and show somebody a different thing. I've always, maybe this is silly, but I've always looked at like my queer friends as like the superhuman mutants of the world that are just
I love that. Yes.
evolution stepping forward and being different. And maybe you can't produce claws from your fingertips, but you can sure make just as much of a difference by being your true authentic self. I love that. You have Chris's chart in front of you. But how do you...
I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of Libra.
It is.
There's a lot of Libra in there.
is.
There's a lot of Libra, and I will gladly circle back around to you on like a I don't know, a one-on-one to hear more about mine, but I'm curious as to what you see.
I mean, if we have time, we can like dip into yours and just look at, you know, the big three is what I call it, the sun, moon, and rising, and you can get a lot of information just on that alone. And your missing element. Not everyone, but a lot of people have a missing element.
Water.
So there's 4 elements, and so if you feel like you're not able to like be practical, like for me, that's me. I'm missing earth. A lot of times you're attracted to your missing element.
Interesting.
You know, in a relationship. You know, I am not very grounded, and sometimes I have a hard time being practical. Like I can sit here and have a deep conversation with you all day long and use my words, and let's get into our feelings, and you know, let's show up, and I can initiate and use my fire to inspire, you know. But when it comes to being grounded and being practical and dealing with boundaries, I mean, I struggled with that my entire life, you know. And here comes Capricorn that rules boundaries, Adam, you know, and I just love it. I love earth signs. I love earth people. Like there's something with their energy that's almost like again, that missing element. And I feel a little bit more complete around earth people.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's fascinating.
That is fascinating. And I wonder, this is so silly, but I was talking to everybody like when I did discover, I don't know if you remember, but I was like, yeah, I'm just watching from the bathtub, this whole like tarot pull going on. And I was having a, in lack of much better words, a come to Jesus moment, because a lot of things in the day were really playing into that experience for me. And I feel as if maybe whatever is going on in the sky for all of us has been a little tumultuous, but I've just been on a tumultuous past 6 months. And I revert to taking a bath, not because I'm like, ooh, bubbles and ooh, like that, but I love being submerged. It releases, I get overstimulated so easily that when I'm submerged, the sound goes away, a lot of sensations on my arms and my body goes, like I don't feel, because I've described myself to Chris a couple of times and I've said, imagine like fiber optics, and how like, you know, those like fiber optic balls that you see and like you just see like all the little dancing lights. Imagine like fiber optics are just like every pinpoint of my body and they're always lit up. Like and like that's just like the way like my senses are going. And so we get frustrated. We get frustrated because I love our dogs, but just like simple things that dogs do really stress me out, like running across the floor, because my senses.
Listen,
like,
you have an Aries moon. I get it. I have an Aries moon. I know how volatile that emotional reaction can be. It's so impulsive to where you have to say a sorry immediately afterwards.
Yep. Quite often.
Yeah, I mean, it's the nature of your relationship with your emotions, and that's what I always describe. Like when you have an Aries moon, there's a lot of things on the spectrum of the high and low road. The highest road of the Aries moon is let's initiate, let's start, let's do it now. They're like, let's not wait. So it's the let's get inspired, let's start pioneering and pushing through the stuff that we need to get done, you know? But on a low level, there's burnout. There's I'm being impulsive, or I have I erupt in anger, you know, and I get really pissy and feisty, and I get Mr. or Mrs. Bossy Boots, and then I just start, going off. But then after you've let it out, you feel good, and you're like doing something else, and, and everyone's like, "Are you okay?" It's like, that was like 5 minutes ago. What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm fine.
Yep.
I'm absolutely stealing Mr. and Mrs. Bossy Boots. That's stolen from you.
Clint says, I'd never thought about the missing element as someone having literally 0 fire in my chart. I am now going to start looking for any fire people in my life.
Oh, well, if right here, this is a wonderful book that you can discover what your missing element is. Now, this is not an astrology book, so you have to know nothing about astrology. This is clearly understanding, can I cry? Can I talk? Am I too lazy? Like, what is, because it has like a little thing where you tick if, like, it has like different sections, earth, air, fire, water, and you give yourself 1 point if you can or can't do that said thing. And you put totality at the end, and which one are you high in? And I go back and do that regularly to see how my elements fluctuate. And, I've worked on my earth for probably a better part of a year, and I see the difference and the balance in my life. Like, I'm surrounded by plants now. I mean, just looking at the plants, that's earth. Like what you were saying about submerging yourself in water, I give that actual homework, because I do give homework when I give readings, because I try to give you takeaways or practical directives to help you with either a missing element or your life lessons to bring into your awareness, to make the unconscious conscious. And I usually give that homework to people missing water who might not be able to get in touch with their emotions, and I say, well, you need to take a literal bath and like submerge yourself in water and be with that element. Wow. And I do assign other things, but that's just one of many things that you can do to get a little bit more in touch with that emotional part of you. And now is a great time with the new moon being in Pisces. There's 4 planets in Pisces right now. It's the most sensitive sign in the zodiac.
Oh, good.
So we all probably been feeling this. If anybody's been feeling this the last couple of days, like maybe overly emotional or overly sensitive or tired, that's a big one.
Oof.
Pisces love to sleep.
I love to sleep.
Because it rules dreams and altered states. So it's like anything that takes me out of this reality and into an altered state, they're like, I'm all there. Because Pisces don't like being in a body. They're like, let's float free. Let's use our imagination. Let's talk about our emotions. Let's switch it up and do something else, because it's a mutable energy. They're the magicians of the zodiac. They're the ones that say, come and step into my, planet of Neptune, because that's its ruling planet. So it's that energy that you get when you want to play video games. It rules video games. What's happening in front of you is not real. It's virtual reality. So that's the land of Pisces. It's when the physical body dies and it ascends into the land of spirit. That's Pisces. It's the 12th sign of the zodiac. Wow. So it rules like being out of the body and like the death of your life, because I also view the 12 zodiac signs as the different cycles of life. Because if you start off with Aries, it's like it bursts forth life, because it's the spring. It's when life comes anew, and you have like the flowers pushing up through the ground, and animals being born. That's Aries. It's the fire. It's like, let's start off with a bang. And at the end is Pisces, and this is when your body dies and you go into spirit form, and that's the land of Pisces. They don't like being here. They're the ones that get really heavily depressed. They get anxiety because they're sensitive to people's energy. So all this could be going on with a lot of people right now, because we have such an emphasis on the Pisces energy right now, during this new moon. So it can take people out emotionally on a low level.
Yeah.
We have friends in chat saying being in a body is oof. Very much that the past couple of days I've wanted to be anywhere but my body. I mean, I've been the same. Like it's been fascinating time for all of us. And this, when I found out today was a new moon, I was just like, of course it is. Anywho, how? So we've talked a lot about like understanding ourselves and being able to forgive ourselves. How about your romantic relationship and knowing more about your person and being able to, I don't know, like you've identified that obviously Adam is that ground sign, that you're almost your missing element, but how knowing what you know about him, and maybe in a broad spectrum, like not so much Adam, but like how we can all learn more about this to understand our persons better.
Oh yeah. A lot of times we know our sun sign, so that's the best way to kind of like maybe see if you're compatible or not. But that's just like like you're missing so much of the bigger piece, honestly, because you can do in astrology synastry reading where you take two charts and you overlay them and you see how does that person's planet are expressed in the houses of your relationship house and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't want to speak too much astrology because I don't want it to confuse anybody because it sounds more complicated than it is. You can, see an astrologer. But what it does for me, like I can look at Adam's chart and I understand his needs. Now, not everybody can do that. So I'm trying to think like it's easier for me because I can detangle the language of astrology, look at the chart, and I can meet him where he's capable, And in a synastry reading, if I see, because he's a Pisces rising, and my sun is a Pisces, not my like kid, as you would. Well, so my sun sign is a Pisces, so right there is synastry, so that's a soul match. If your rising sign is matching up with someone's sun sign, there's a communication without words. Like I understand his soul and his soul understands my ego without words, 100%. So there is synastry there where it just naturally works. Even though he's a Capricorn, which he can be a little bit more stoic and rigid as Capricorns can be because they're rooted in like just practicality. They compartmentalize their emotions or schedule their emotions. I mean, I was just floored when I figured that out. I was like, who schedules their emotions? Because I'm a sensitive Pisces. If I feel something, you're going to know it. I'm going to, right then and there. My Aries moon just jumps right in and
lights it up.
There's just no holding back with an Aries moon. It just happens. And,
I wish I could hold it back a little bit sometimes, but
well, I just say don't, because what you're really doing, what it's translating into is like you're trying to make contact. You're trying to express yourself. And if you're not being able to express yourself in a healthy way, because there is healthy fire, I think on a low level is like you keeping it in, like, you're a Libra, so you're trying to keep the peace, and it's counterintuitive because inside you're spreading yourself thin, making sure everyone else is okay, while inside there's disharmony because you're not putting yourself first. And it's like, how do I balance the me and the we?
Ooh.
That's what Aries tells you. Don't forget to put yourself first. When you forget to put yourself first as the Aries moon, I'm gonna suffer and I'm going to blow up and you're going to know about it and everyone else is going to know about it too. And bye-bye harmony, because Libra is all of a sudden just left. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I just don't know. I'm just having a bad day.
Yep, I do.
Feel that way?
I do indeed.
I do.
Now, how does one fold in the rising element, knowing that my rising is Taurus? I've always found it so interesting. I had this book. It's so aged and should not probably be used anymore, but I've got this really fun book called Sextrology.
Oh my gosh, I have the same book. Is it pink?
Yeah, by Starsky and Cox. But yeah. I used to. It's kind of turned into like a party favor. But it was always.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that are fun.
Just like
Stuff
we
like
got
that.
friends over, let's see if you're compatible with everybody in the room.
With everybody in the room.
But
Yeah, and to know for sure, honestly, you would have to do a synastry chart reading, is where you compare two charts to get a more detailed overlook, because the person's going to have more questions and you can't answer them if you just generalize everything.
right.
But naturally, like, the sun and the moon help a lot, and knowing your Venus sign. Venus rules the relationship part. And Libra, you're very Venusian. I say that because Taurus and Libra share the same planet. There's 10 different bodies of planets, but 12 signs.
Right.
If you're including the sun and the moon. So there are a couple of signs that share planets. So Libra and Taurus is one of them. They both share Venus. It's about beauty and love and all that. So you're very Venusian. So your ego and soul is very in tandem.
Interesting.
The Taurus part is a little bit different because it's an earth versus an air sign, Libra. So it's like, how can you ground your words? And Tauruses, they're very slow and they're very cautious. So, and they like repetition. They don't like anything to challenge their security. So I'm curious to know, like, do you like things to be like repetitive? So that, I'm going to do this time. I'm going to do this and this time. I can see where the difference could be, like Libra is a little bit more flexible, but the Taurus really like things to be a certain way and repetitious and everything.
I wouldn't say it's at the forefront of my brain at all times, but one of my favorite directors, and he's my favorite director because he just got me. Adam might know him from Universal, but he just kind of understood me, right? And he's like, John Mark, you've got like a brilliant brain for seeing like the whole picture, but you sometimes need to figure out where you fit within it. Speaking of like being on stage and like as an actor, right? But he was like, but once you get to do it over and over and over again, a couple of times more than maybe everybody else,
yeah,
you get into it in a way other people don't get there.
Absolutely.
And like,
because they're
and
masters. I get that. Yep.
And it's the way, it's like right now my job is kind of in flux, and the idea of having to learn a new job right now has me in chaos mode, because and the reason I haven't felt comfortable in the job that I have is because they're constantly throwing me something else to learn, and I cannot find a rhythm with it, and it's driving me bonkers.
That's so funny you say that, because Taurus rules rhythm, it rules repetition. It says consistency is key because it makes me feel safe.
Yeah.
Because I know what to expect. It's also a fixed sign, so they're very stubborn. They're like, don't change things up, and they're really big on having a plan. Like if we're going to do something, I mean, even if it's a loose plan, but they need to know, because they don't like things challenging their security. They're like, I'll do this and I'll get on board, but like, I need a little bit more direction here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it also rules self-worth. So you could feel a little insecure about needing more time, because it does take time for you to like get in the rhythm and find your rhythm. But once you do, oh my gosh, they're one of the most dependable signs, and they're master builders, and they're obsessed with making money.
I just love this so much. I want to take a small moment to just remind everybody where they can find you, even if the conversation continues to go. In the chat, Astrology Pie is Alan. And I am doing everything I can to encourage the further twitching of Alan.
Is Clint a Taurus? Are you a Taurus, Clint?
And then also on Instagram, you can find Alan at thedeadpoet22, which is excellent quality content. There it is. So check him out. Please show some love. This is very much a service, a craft, a study that very few people in my life can provide. And Alan does so please check out what Alan is up to, even if it's just like following and interacting with somebody's content. You have no idea how far that goes in small business and in just creating this content. So please consider checking out Alan, because this is a gift to all of us.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm having a great time. I could literally talk astrology all day, and especially helping people connect with themselves. I like it when people are able to have that aha moment, or I mean, and that's a big Aries quality too. I have a stellium, which is if you have 3 or more planets in one element, or sign, or not element, one sign or house, it's considered a stellium, which is a concentrated amount of energy. And I have a lot of that in Aries. So self-development is big for me, and helping people, with that as well.
Did you try to drop a link in the chat by chance?
Yeah.
Will you send it?
So that's one of your rules, right?
Just Twitch all across the board will like automatically put that. So which one was it? Because I know Sulky can
Astrologypie.com.
Astrologypie.com, just like the name, but with a .com
Yeah.
at the end. Sulky has the power to drop actual links to things like that, but to keep Twitch chats safe from the random person dropping questionable material in chats.
Thank you, Sulky.
That's one of those things that Twitch helps us out with. Would you be open to like some questions from the friends that are watching or paying attention?
And I still have Chris's chart, so like whatever you're wanting to do, whatever direction you want to go, I'm here.
I would love to watch this kid's face.
I'm super into it.
As you described some things that I'm sure you can see. I'm interested to hear what you can see, because he's my person and I feel like I know a lot.
Oh, you want
him.
The inside scoop?
Yeah.
Don't get the manipulation, out of here.
No, not to manipulate, but to understand. And
I get that. I do that to Adam all the time. And I'll spit some astrology at him, and he's a Capricorn, so he's like, "Thank you,
Thank you for letting me know."
So like, it's really just like, okay, what do you want me to say? Like, he's like, okay. He's not like, he isn't super fascinated with it, but any earth signs like Capricorn, they're very support. So because it's something that I have a passion with it, he wants to give me clear direction, and he's more always talking to me about the business part of it. He doesn't care what I'm passionate about, but he's just like, okay, so like, what do you want to do with it? How do you want to make money? What is the structure that says that's the Capricorn?
Yeah, no, and I love that about him. And I think it's, I mean, to everybody, the minute I met Alan, I was like, the two of you need to be a duo stream, because Adam's like functioning role, like his streams are like, what did I say? Like building body, and you're all about building mind. And I was like, the combo of the two would just be so
like the power couple, like
yes,
lifting weights and lifting spirits.
Yes,
I
love it. Lifting weights and lifting
though.
Spirits. I dig it so much. I also am gonna.
I can see the merch now.
Throw this microphone out the window if it doesn't stop.
It's fine. She's just like, I want to hear you more, or I want to hear you a little less.
Yeah, it's the Elgato Wave 3 mic, and it just like it keeps changing its gain on its own. So if we get louder or quieter, I'm sorry, everybody. But yes, let's read Chris's. Let's read Chris for filth, as Connor says.
Read Chris for filth. All right. So I'm looking at your chart, and you have a pretty clean karma, and I say that because you have a couple of tension marks in your chart, which just are some like obstacles. A lot of it has to do with your family unit, and you briefly touched up on that. Are your parents still married?
No.
I was gonna say like there's a divorce.
Yeah.
So like
they got divorced when I was like 3.
That hard on you? I mean, I know you were 3, but like just growing up with that separation and that being your, the normalcy, was it like a weird thing for you growing up?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I had a very difficult childhood. It was
Okay.
a lot.
I was
of,
getting that. There's some, wounded healing there. I'm not gonna get into, trauma or anything, but I just was recognizing that, your parents are divorced, and I was just asking about that.
Yeah.
So let's describe the fun stuff. Your sun, moon, and rising. So your sun is Libra, your moon is Leo, and your rising is Capricorn. So this is an interesting mix because you have like all three elements of those, particularly the air, the fire, Leo, and the earth, Capricorn. So this is very versatile, mixed energy. And then you have, what is it, like your emotional body? I'm curious to know, how are you with expressing, you have like no planets in water. Like, are you able to really get in touch with your emotions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, well, okay. Actually, that's kind of it's a weird kind of line because I'm an actor. So
okay,
it's my job to get in touch with emotions, he said in quotations. But I would say that in real life, I tend to only allow, what are you smiling at?
Oh, no, please. I'm not smiling. I'm not causing a judgment.
I tend to only allow certain emotions to come through. I don't know where that comes from. I have kind of told myself that because I've spent so much of my life not manufacturing emotions, but as an actor, like I've spent so much of my life putting myself into another character and living that authentically.
Well, that's different than knowing your emotions.
Right, exactly. And so I don't know.
So like you can be like, and I don't mean like overly emotional. I don't mean like, can I cry at everything? But is your water healthy? Like, can you freely express your emotions in a way that makes sense? Or do you have a hard time relating to like your inner feelings and being able to express it? Or you feel more secretive about how do you be vulnerable?
Oh, 100%.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So it's like balancing that because you have a lot of energy in air. Like, first of all, let's talk about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in Libra. 5.
Wow.
Oh my God. 5. That's a lot.
Oh my God.
I'm just being dumb. Because,
I just want to welcome in Shells. It's nice to have you over here.
Hi,
It Gets Better.
Welcome.
New follower, friend of the 2G1Ts. Great person. Welcome in. Continue. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. So you probably really resonate with that Libra energy. Your Saturn's in that, in Libra as well. So that's a lot of your life lessons, is like your relationships. That's a big part of you. What is my relationships with food? What is my relationship with people? What is my relationship with myself? So like learning about other people helps you learn about yourself, So
Yes.
like doing things together and doing things with people and like that sharing part and the harmony. I mean, things being fair. You must be really big on things being fair.
Yes, particularly today. But no.
Every day.
What happened today?
Oh, we had some work stuff today, but it was so interesting because I was thinking about it, and I was like, why am I so worked up about it? And because of the injustice of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm worked up because,
Mhm.
That's what gets me more than what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really fries your cookies when things are like not fair, or if someone's being put out for any particular reason that's unjust, like you were saying, because Libra rules the justice system. There's a lot of people that, and your midhaven, which rules your career, is also in Libra. So being the diplomat, being the person, you probably have everyone come to you with their problems and asking you, what do you think? Because you're just naturally this like therapist energy that can listen to both sides and have an unbiased opinion to give you sound advice. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
And you're not a normal Libra. You probably don't know this, but Pluto was conjunct the sun when you were born, meaning that you are a Scorpio in disguise. Yeah.
Gay gasp.
Gay gasp. What does that mean?
So, when you were born, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and it was conjunct your sun by 2 degrees. So this gives you a very strong Scorpion flavor. Like, you're almost like a detective. You can sense people when they're lying to you, and you can call bullshit on people. Is that true?
Yes.
You're the type of person that unearths stuff that isn't true. And you probably like spooky things and psychology. Like, you would be a fantastic therapist.
Interesting.
This is because Scorpio also rules the things that we hide, and it's funny when you were talking about the emotional part and the hiding, Scorpios are the secret keepers. So you tend to hide things until you feel comfortable and that level of trust with someone, because you don't want to be judged wrongly, and you don't want to give everything away. There's this air of mystery that you have, and an extremely magnetic personality, super charming. When you have that Libra combination and the Pluto conjunction, I mean, that's like an intense energy as well. So there could be like that weird energy where people might even be intimidated by it. Is that true?
Yes.
I mean, yes. Yeah.
I mean, you're probably
All
not
that
going to
Libra is
recognize
very
the
charming.
intimidation.
That could overrule some of that, but there is a part of that Scorpio energy that people might feel threatened by. I don't know.
Well, I feel like I've been told multiple times in my life, especially in my like adult life, that people don't necessarily always know where they stand with me. And I am a big like, I razz you if I'm a fan of yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you a hard time if I like you. And a lot of people take that as like me being rough on them, like me actually being angry at them or being upset with them in some way. And in reality, I'm actually joking.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see where that could be a little confusing. And is it dependent on who it is? Is it like the same person, or is it just them?
No, I think it's
because you're a charmer. Like, let's just put it out there. 5 planets in Libra. It's a very charming sign. It's like we were talking about the Venus energy. Like, so things that are like, and even especially for you, as well. Like, y'all both have like colors. It represents fashion and colors, and like they love colors and bright colors and putting things together in order. They have to be like in tandem, or they match. Like, matching's a big thing. Is that true for y'all?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yep. I like bright, shiny things. No, that's
yeah, that's very true.
Can you see, do you still have both of ours? I think, is it both of our Venuses in Libra? I think.
No, his Venus, Chris, your Venus is in Sagittarius.
Okay, where? My Venus is. I remember us having something. We only share a sun sign, I'm guessing.
I don't have your chart pulled up yet. I can pull yours up with that 8 p.m. I just didn't, because I wasn't sure if we wanted to do that for that time.
No, you're totally fine. I was just curious. I'm just for shits and giggles sending you my what CoStar has as the chart. So what I
send it to me.
But because I'm a bit more colorful as far as planets go. But I do think it's interesting that because I always joke about Earth, Wind, and Fire being my trifecta, and I think it's so fascinating that yours are too, but completely different signs.
Yeah.
Except for Libra, but like, I just think that's fascinating, and I love that. Anywho, carry on.
Yeah. Well, another thing I want to ask you, Chris, like, so do you like murder mysteries or like whodunit or like serial killers or things like that with that scorpion flavor on your sun? Because it rules the dark side. So you can either be afraid of like those kinds of things or have certain fears and anxiety around them, or you really enjoy that kind of stuff, or you really love Halloween and you like the spooky things, and you're like, it also rules sex and things that are taboo. So like everything that you think that you hide from the world, you know? So with that conjunction is like, those are things of interest to you. You know, you're like, I don't like surface level crap. You're like, I want to go deep. You're like, let's go deep and have like a real conversation, because it rules intimacy. That's why it rules sex. So like you want to make contact, and the closest you can get to someone is through sexual contact. You're like, you want an intimate relationship, you know? So like that's being in Libra, you know, is also the Pluto's in Libra with your sun. So like the intimacy through the relationship and the sharing, and, you know, there's also a flavor that could be like possessive a little bit as well on a low level.
Yeah. Yeah. I think going back to like the murder mystery stuff, like I'm more into spooky things now because John Marcus is so into them. But like for me, like stories of serial killers and like all of these kind of unsolved mystery, true crime, that is terrifying to me. Like my
yeah, so you're on the opposite spectrum where it's like terrifying. You're a little like fearful of it.
Yeah. But
because it rules certain fears.
I will say though, like the idea of like a whodunit though, and not so much like real crime, but like his affinity for farce and for like he's an incredible farce actor. Like if you put this person in a play and it's a farce, it's going to be the best farce you've ever seen.
I agree, because you know Libra's an artist.
But that kind of to me translates really well to most farce like stories that you've ever told are sort of kind of what the heck is going on here? Who's in charge of this thing? Who done it?
I was gonna say it like this. I was gonna say I really love puzzles. Like I love like my favorite types of stories or movies or shows are ones that have like little twists,
like Knives Out
and turn. Yeah. Like I love stuff like that. But as far as like on a real level and like thinking about real life things, like it terrifies me.
It doesn't have to go dark. I mean, you can do the lighter version of that.
My imagination is way too overactive when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, because Pluto rules psychology, you know, so like the deep inner workings of the human psyche are very fascinating to you.
Side note, in college, I majored in theater and minored in psychology.
Does not surprise me, because we'll get to your moon sign as well. So Libra in general as well is the artist. It's the mark of the artist. So like things that deal with colors, things that deal with a craft of some sort is something that Libra is known for. And anytime I see like when you have that much energy in Libra, I mean like it's very talented energy that surrounds your art. So like art is your craft. Like whatever it is that you do, like it has to be some sort of art influence. And when you have your moon in Leo, well, Leo is the actor. It rules drama. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
it's interesting too, because it's the moon wants to cuddle, and then you have like it in a fire sign. So like this is like super passionate. It's in the 7th house of relationships. So like your emotional need for attention in a relationship is important to you, but it's hard for you to be vulnerable enough to ask for what you need, you know, because it's just like there could be a sense of pride attached to it. You're just like, but you love to be adored. Like when someone thanks you, you're just like, finally someone noticed. I entered the room like 20 minutes ago, you know? There's a part of you that wants to show up and take up space and to be noticed. You know, it could make you feel a little self-conscious because you're like, I want to be noticed, but I feel bad. Am I going to take up too much room? Am I being too much right now? Do you like me? Because it wants to be adored.
I have felt that exact feeling for so much of my life. Like this idea of like wanting to be that person in a room that people gravitate towards, but like feeling so guilty about wanting that and feeling like I'm in a room full of, 15 people who all are so happy that I'm there and I feel completely alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it does make sense. And that's the nature of the moon and the Leo, because Leo rules the sun. Okay, that's its ruling planet. And it wants to shine. When you look up in the sky, it touches everything when it's at the zenith of the sky at noon, like there casts no shadow. So likened to your emotional body, you emotionally are fulfilled by the admiration of others. So on a low road, you depend on others to make you happy, if that makes sense. Like you're dependent on if this person likes you in order to feel like you have any self-worth.
100%. Yeah.
And then you, with all that Libra energy, are also like that people pleaser in order to gain the attention from others as well. So like on a low road, the drama, you could get bored and just create drama. I mean, that's probably when we were younger, you probably were trying to figure out your emotional body and just, create a drama, or maybe use theater as a way to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you do when you don't do any of that? I mean, what happens when you keep yourself from those parts of yourself? I'm just curious. Just asking. Just curious. Just a curious thought. Oh my God, why is it doing that? This microphone is driving me crazy. There we go. Calm down. Did you see?
Well, that was your first permission slip, is you're allowed to take up space. Like you want to be seen. So the hardest thing for you is to be vulnerable enough to ask for what you need.
Yeah.
And especially in a relationship with John, like you have to, if you really don't want something or something bothers you, say it. Because as a fire sign, you're too proud to ask for your needs sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or if you need attention, just be like, you know what? I really just want to be the girl. Hold me. Yeah. I need you. I love you. I need help. Those are hard things for a Leo moon to ask for.
Sometimes
be vulnerable and to say they need help. They'd rather die.
Yeah. Sometimes I just am like, do you love me?
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Have you seen that?
That's a good thing to know, because it's in his 7th house of relationships. The need for approval and attention is extremely high when your moon is in Leo. It's just a thing. They need to know that they're adored 24/7.
And I will continue to say yes for as long as I live. I do. But no, it's. Have you seen that TikTok thing or whatever? It's like a little meme that goes around, and it's like the little kid that's wandering around being like, "Do you love me? Yes. Do you love me? Yes. Do you love me? Yes." It's like day in, day out in this house.
And don't feel bad about that. But I do want to say that learn to do things for yourself to make you feel loved.
Yeah.
Like just buy something for you, or like pamper yourself in a way, and don't wait for someone else to do it to say that they love you. Love yourself, and you're so creative. And I tell this with people with this combination, do this, and I've done it for me. Like I painted this rock, and it says, "You are enough," and it's a great reminder to keep me grounded. And when I look at it, and I got creative, you can use your little Libra energy of creativity and colors and paint you a little rock, but it's like a little symbol for me, like, you know what, I am enough, and there's that sense of independence that you start to gain without looking for other people to give you attention and love and admiration, because it can be hard, feeling like I need attention, and you feel bad for it.
Let
But
me
you're
ask you-
also wanting to that attention, and it makes a fantastic actor. It really does.
Well, and that's what I was just about to say is kind of like, because I'm in a weird point in my life because I spent literal decades chasing after this kind of acting career, and was for the most part very successful in like on a regional circuit, on a regional level, going from job to job, from show to show, everything like that. And then the pandemic happened and theater just kind of stopped. And I am feeling very reluctant and very, I guess reluctant is the best word to kind of go back after it.
Yeah.
And so it's a very interesting, and I feel like that because of everything that you're saying and all of this, it makes a lot of sense that I would gravitate towards something like acting that gives you that kind of immediate "you have been seen" reaction from an audience, right? So like that makes a lot of sense to me, but I can't explain now this kind of real heavy reluctance I have to jump back in. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's that vulnerability part. It's like, and even, is this something that's sustainable? Because let's talk about your Capricorn rising. So that's another element that you're having to incorporate, the practicality. So Capricorns are really big on like results and things being practical and creating a system and needing clear direction. Do not like vagueness whatsoever, right? So that's a part, your progressed moon. So everyone has a progression of their sign. So the progressed moon describes the flavor or the cycle your emotional body is in. It lasts 2.5 years. So your progressed moon right now is also in Capricorn. And that happened about 1.5 years ago ish. And or maybe like a year ago. Like it's, sometime last year, but like really needing stability and wanting to making sure that you're producing or that you're having enough. You could even be like, I should be doing this, I should be doing more. Have you felt like you've been doing that a lot lately?
Oh yeah.
It's that earth element that says, I need a system that works, that's going to generate money.
Yeah. Yes.
Because Capricorn rules money. And if there's one thing they want to do, they work hard for the stuff that they want and they love making money.
Yeah.
And
go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. That's all. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, yes, that this kind of emphasis on security that I've been kind of passing off on my age and on coming out of a pandemic when everything that felt sure was all of a sudden unsure. And so I have put an insane amount of pressure on myself to make money, to find the thing that makes the most money. And I was just talking to someone today, I think it was my mom actually, but I was just talking to my mom today about like, I hate that I'm so reliant on money. I hate that we all like, it's just such a factor that we all have to deal with on such an intense level. And I'm very resentful of that. But at the same time, it is priority one for me.
Yeah.
I need to make enough money so that we survive and are comfortable.
Yeah, I totally get that. It makes you level-headed because Capricorn, which rules Saturn, rules our physical plane. Accountability is big for you. So fairness, the accountability, and rooting for the underdog, those are 3 components collectively of that sun, moon, and rising. People getting away with shit just doesn't fly with you.
Oh, no, it does not.
Not even a little bit. And that's around the pandemic time. Like this is when that energy shift into the progressed moon into Capricorn. So you're already a rising Capricorn. And so the idea is to have your ego in service to your soul. So how does the Libra get in service to the practical stuff and with the money and with being in this physical world, you know? So we live most of our lives through our ego, which is our sun sign. Remember, it's that the sun, the Leo that wants to be seen. So everyone has an ego, but the Leo says, you know, I want to shine and I want to be seen all the time. But you also have your Libra as your ego, that's the ruler of your sun sign. So you're just like, well, can't we all just get along? You know, can't things just like be fair? You know, it's that same type of energy. And then you have Pluto that's conjunct that sun of Libra. So that Scorpio energy that's very hesitant and is a little bit secretive, you know, and is really good at keeping secrets. You know, if someone tells you something in confidence, you keep a tight lip. I don't think you will ever, because you know how betrayal feels. I mean, this is the sign where you feel things very deeply. Like when I see Pluto conjunct the sign, it rules power. And so like to have power and control of your emotions is important to you, but you do lack a little bit of that water. It's like, how do I communicate my feelings?
Yeah.
How do I let other people know what I need? And then your Leo moon is like, I'm scared to be vulnerable because then people are going to judge me and then people might not like me, you know? So it's like, how do you balance all these things going on in your internal dialogue, right?
Yeah.
And then the Capricorn comes in and it says, okay, we don't have time for this. Fuck emotion. Like, I got shit to do and I need to make money. What are you talking about right now? I can't think about this. You're just nonsense, you know?
Yeah.
So those are like the
you
components
just
that you
summed up like my struggle within myself on a daily basis. Like these the things that you're talking about right now and the kind of the back and forth of like needing this but I'm really this. I mean like when it comes to, it's so interesting because when it comes to sharing my emotions and sharing what I want and what I need, I shut down.
You can't, yeah.
I don't. If things get too, if I feel that too deeply, I will close off instead of open up.
That's your Pluto on your sun because Pluto rules that intensity. That's why I was like, are people intimidated by you? Because there's this intensity that you have, you know, and it can also create on a low level anxiety, big anxiety and fears that aren't necessarily true. You know, so it could also make you very suspicious of people, you know, if you're not careful, if you start getting in your head and start spiraling, you know.
Oh yeah,
because like I said, it rules psychology. So like mental issues of like getting in your head and being suspicious of people and like, you know, feel like people are out to get you because you're trying to be successful, you know. That's the high and low road I'm talking about. You know, that's on a low road, but it's not necessarily aspected badly in your chart, but it could mean that there has been tendencies where it's a struggle for you to like really open up. And because I don't think people understand how intense your emotions are. Pluto and the sun, you have very intense emotions. Things when you get hurt, it's different for someone else getting hurt. It takes you a while to get over things. And you can easily cut people out, you know, if it comes to that because you're so protective of your emotions. Is that true?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
I fidget a lot. I have like Uranus on my ascendant, which rules also the body. So like I can't sit still.
Oh, wow.
Because it rules the nervous system. And I'm just over here like, shaking.
You're like,
people probably thinking I'm a drug addict.
It's a safe space. No, I was curious because like based on the time, I'm pretty sure that the time is like, I know 8 o'clock is pinpoint on the nose. But is my Pluto being in Scorpio at all similar to his, or is that because of the time of year and the time of birth that his Scorpio is kind of like?
Oh no, it won't be similar.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Pluto conjunct the sun only happens like once a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once a year for like maybe 2 weeks. You know, so it's a very significant signature.
Well,
and not everybody has that because of when you were born, like that particular time, because of degrees, it's almost like those planets were holding hands. So you're like a Libra, but you're like that Scorpio in disguise. So you have a strong Scorpio flavor in your chart.
so
It's almost like that Libra takes a back seat sometimes because of that degree is so tight.
And Scorpio is, remind me, Scorpio is fire?
Water.
Water. Oh,
So
Scorpio.
that's why I
is
was saying
water.
intense emotions, like,
Okay.
being mysterious about your emotions, but also being a good secret keeper and like keeping other people. It's a really good therapist too, because it's like, let's talk about our emotions. Like you love one-on-one and like, let's go deep. Let's have a good conversation. Let's go out to dinner and give me the tea.
that's all I want.
100%.
Oh, I was just curious because in my Scorpio, my Pluto is in Scorpio, and so I didn't know how that works, or like if Pluto doesn't function that way all the time. If that makes it,
It does, but it depends on where, what house and what it's actually doing to the other planets.
Gotcha. I have a very rough draft of mine.
Because I like looking at the birth chart will. Let me put your information on it and plug
This
it in
is-
so I can pull up the will.
Absolutely fascinating. And it's making stuff make sense for me that I haven't been able to make sense of.
Well,
I give you the dialogue. Like I'll help you articulate those feelings because feelings are so intense to you. You don't know how to communicate them necessarily because you're still trying to figure out how you feel because water freezes, so you can become nonverbal. With that signature, I could say something and pause and give you a moment to think about it, to check in with your emotional body. And you're like, okay, does that resonate? I'm not sure. Okay, let me think. Okay, yeah. So it's one of those things too, like, and Scorpio has a hard time with trust issues. It's like, I'm not going to tell you my feelings unless I trust you. Who are you?
Yeah.
They don't just give who they are and their life away freely because they feel things intensely. That's what I was saying. Like, remember that intimate part? Like, things affect them on an intimate way than most people.
Yeah.
All Scorpios probably feel that way to a certain degree.
How you were talking about, like, you mentioned, like, Jesus Christ, this microphone. You were mentioning.
I was like, did I mention Jesus Christ?
You were mentioning how in Chris's chart, there's a lack of water. How do you find that water? How do you communicate? How do you find that?
Like if you're missing an element or that water fire.
Yeah. What would be? I don't know.
I would ask different questions because there are different signatures in your chart that would indicate, oh, this person. So that's why I ask, like, can you get in touch with your emotions? Can you express your emotions? Is that water healthy? Like, do you express your emotions in a volatile way, or are you like so secretive you don't express them at all, and you don't care about your emotions? So there are signatures that I could say, oh, that potential that I'm looking at, it looks like they might not be, have enough water in their chart. And I look at the distributions of where the planets are. So I can tell if they have very many planets in like earth, air, fire, or water. And I'll be like, well, there's like no planets or maybe like one planet in water. So like, I'm going to ask that person if they have a hard time with their emotions or not.
Gotcha.
And
So
the big indicator, the one thing with his chart, the big indicator for me was the sun squaring the moon. And I was like, squares in a chart are tension. And I was like, ooh, mom and dad are not together. Something happened in his childhood that caused him to block out his emotions.
Wow. So it's less about finding what you can do to quote unquote fix it, and more so how to live with it and give grace to it.
It is. It's a little bit of both. Like bringing that into an awareness is activation enough to ask yourself, do I like this about myself or do I not? But I give you that choice.
Yeah.
And then I will say, I can suggest you some stuff that you can do to help you get in touch with your emotions. Like Libra like is a sharer, and I would tell Chris, I would tell you as like, you do really well when you're able to express your emotions either through art or through acting. Or if you can do it one-on-one with a friend and to get those thoughts out of your head and express yourself, would alleviate so much pressure and tension, because you're getting those emotions. Because think of it, water and air. Water and air aren't the most compatible energies. Water being your emotions, the air, you're a Libra, you know, you have that Pluto, the Scorpio, which is water. So there's a lot of that water-air combination. But if you think about it elementally, water is made up of oxygen. That's why speaking your truth feels so good. You're breathing air, you're breathing life into your emotions, you're being able to express yourself through the verbiage. And with Libra, it's all about things being in tandem, things being on one-on-one. So like, it's an air sign, so they love to communicate. It loves to collaborate with others, and they're great with what is it, like contracts and things like that. So they're good at being able to be marketers as well. So like being that person that likes to share things. So you would do wonders for your emotional body to be able to express yourself with someone you care about that's in a safe way.
Yeah.
That would be a big help for you. And if you care about journaling, if you're someone who wants to do it on your own, I suggest journaling, and just set a timer like 2 times a day. And when it goes off, if you have time, just like, you can either like text it on your notepad and say, how do I feel? Just ask yourself that. How am I feeling? Nothing. And then type in nothing, whatever comes up, like check in with your emotional, like make a deliberate action to check in with your emotional body. And then do that progressively, setting the timer 2 times a day. And then at the end of the week, go back and look at everything you wrote, because your Capricorn loves being practical. So coming up with a system and looking at something that you were doing and going back on it to say, okay, so I felt this, and this on Monday and Tuesday, and you start seeing your emotional pattern, right?
Interesting, yeah.
And so you can go back and review that and start doing that. And that's one technique that you can do to emotionally start checking in with yourself to figure out what is your emotional body telling you, you know?
Probably why you like whenever we do work out and get into it, you like to track like how much you lifted and how much you did that day.
That's
to like
100% Capricorn rising.
Yeah,
it needs clear direction. You hate vagueness. That's the part of you that hates vagueness. Is like, I need to know.
Yeah,
and then there's me, and I'm like, please don't tell me.
The Capricorn Leo energy, it's like the need to like, affirmations are the biggest thing for you. There's an app called I Am that gives you daily affirmations. You would love it. Like, it gives you daily affirmations every single day. Like, that would be a game changer for you.
You like You Are a Badass Every Day book?
Yeah,
because it was small, like daily affirmation stuff. Yep. That's cool.
I would get up and read it one every morning. Yeah,
I love that. This is cool.
Wow, Alan, thank you so much. This is wild to me. Like,
so like from your perspective as someone who hasn't like invested that much time into it, is it something that like you can suggest maybe you would or will not invest more time into?
Will he, won't they?
Will he, won't they?
Yes, he will. I really, I mean, like in my mind, I was already thinking, ooh, I want to try doing some of these suggestions. And I was also thinking, ooh, I would love to continue this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like with Alan.
Yeah. Well,
it's a lot to unpack. I mean, you're talking about your entire life.
Right.
This is the cosmic blueprint of your personality the moment you took your first breath.
Yeah.
So
and it's been 87
potential
years.
And your different stages of life of like struggle. And I can give you guidance and that awareness. But you decide if it's something you care to change, because you like, I like that about myself actually, so I don't want to change it. So like, you move comfortably at your own pace. I'm just, a conduit to like show you these are the energies at play. And actually liberates you. Like, wow, I'm not crazy. This actually makes sense. I do struggle with this. Wow. Okay. That awareness really helped. You know, so it could be just knowing your missing element. That was a big game changer when I was studying my own chart and understanding, how do I show up in the world? What is my personality?
I think the biggest thing, that I'm feeling right now is how I feel like I have, oh, here we go, controversial and brave. How I feel like I have, I've tricked myself into thinking that what I do on stage counts. If that makes sense. Like the emotions that I'm able to get in touch with on stage real? And when I'm not are real, but that counts as like me being in touch with emotions. And I think that counts as me being in touch with emotions. It does not count as me being in touch with my emotions.
Exactly. And that's why I kind of poked and prodded you a little bit. I was like, because you had to think about it.
Yeah.
You know? Not because you don't check in with yourself enough. So like it takes a dialogue. See, this is what helps you. Like therapy would do wonders for you. Like when you're talking one-on-one and it's something interesting. And then number one, we're talking about you, your Leo lights up. It's like, we get to talk about me. Oh my God, I'm excited. You know, and then we get to have a dialogue, and then your sun sign is like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And then we get to talk about secrets. The Pluto on the sun's like, oh my God, I'm excited. You know, so like I'm activating different things in your chart that help you kind of get on board with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of helps. Like you do really well with being able to express yourself and talk about that stuff. And when you're the subject, your Leo's like, oh yeah.
Your Leo's like, oh yeah. I can't. No, it's amazing. It's just a really interesting kind of realization that I'm going to have to grapple with off stream a little bit.
Well, the thing about it is, don't feel bad about being that, because that's not a judgment. That's like a lean into it.
It's 100%
the highest
every bit about you that I fell in love with. Like if you like, I don't know. Like I love the fact that like people gravitate towards you. I love the fact that like when you walk in the room, people genuinely like go like, oh, Chris, you know what I mean? And I love that magnetism. So like nobody in this space is creating any negativity about it. Except maybe your own self.
Yeah.
The Leo moon is very vulnerable. Like they're shy. Like even being an actor, they don't realize how shy they can be.
Oh, I'm super introverted. I like as much as I front that I am extroverted, I am absolutely an introvert.
Hello, Pluto on the sun.
Yeah, like
Pluto on the sun, because it rules like, you know, things that go behind the veil. So like it also makes you really intuitive. So when you have that, Scorpio is also very psychic energy. So if you're not aware of your boundaries, you're starting to pick up emotions of others, and you're starting to get overwhelmed, you know? You'll start feeling like, is that my feelings or their feelings? I can't tell. Like certain crowds will start getting overwhelming to you unless you're able to control that environment.
Right.
So if you go to a party and you give yourself a time limit, says the Capricorn, then we can go. But because Capricorn's very responsible, but it's like the Leo wants to party all night long. But the Pluto on your sun is like, I can't be here for too long because I want to go hide. I'm over it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
it's very, very much that.
Well, I'm just I would love to, if you still are willing. We've used a lot of your energy tonight, and I don't want to like keep using that.
I don't mind at all.
I would love if anybody has any questions for Alan, and would like to have any sort of like, if anything you've heard tonight, any clarification on some of those things, or if you've got a question about your own self that you're trying to figure out, I will highly suggest checking out astrologypie.com. I will also highly suggest checking out The Dead Poet 22 on Instagram and continuing this relationship with Alan. But we have time now if anybody is curious. I know we've been talking a lot, and so people are probably like, oh, we don't need the keyboard. This is a great just listening stream.
Yeah,
but
I know.
but-
I just put down in there for your guests and everybody for 1 month, you get $30 off my website to do a reading.
Oh, cool.
that's
So
dope
thank
as
you.
hell. I'm gonna
Astrology
write that
Pie
down.
30, that'll give you $30 off.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
That's incredible. I literally just learned that shy boy that wants attention because of Leo moon. Oh, Raimundo. I love that.
I love that. See, this is what I love about astrology is like, let's discover ourselves. Let's really dig into, because my Saturn, my life lesson is in Scorpio. I love the deep, dark stuff. Let's talk about the secrets. Let's really talk about what's going on that makes you you. And then I have all that Aries energy that's like, self evolution, and let's try to make ourselves better. Let's be inspired. And then I have my Pisces. It's the most compassionate, sensitive sign in the zodiac. So I bring that sense of calm, loving energy that makes you feel like you can say anything and not be judged. And then my rising sign is Sagittarius. So that's the jovial, optimistic energy. It's very resilient. Sagittarius are the ones who are the fun ones of the zodiac. They're the ones who are blunt and honest and don't give a shit and just want to have fun 24/7 and really want to enjoy life because they inherently know that you're never going to get it all done this lifetime and you can't get it wrong. So just have fun. That's that Sagittarius energy.
That's
I love
fascinating.
that.
Connor says, my moon is in Libra, so I've been listening in deep denial.
Why the denial? Why? We don't want it? I don't know.
That's the thing. I give permission slips. So like allow that Libra to be seen. That's the biggest thing. Like your emotional body lights up when you can share things with people, and I don't know, your emotional body is dependent on other people. You might feel like the people pleaser as well. I don't know.
Connor, a people pleaser?
Play.
Connor taking care of other people? No, not Connor. not Connor. Connor's one of the best humans on the planet. No, I can't tell you, like, I mean, and I plan on using this Astrology Pie 30 because I would like to be able to talk to you about so many things, but like discovering the concept of the moon and rising and those aspects of our life, and discovering that my moon especially was in Aries. And then I found out that something felt super powerful about the fact that my moon was a full blood moon in Aries was just like, whoa.
Yeah, so that's why the new moon and full moons affect you a little bit differently. 100%. I forgot that you do have a full moon energy in your chart.
It's intense. Like I just feel like chaos. And
well, how has today been for you under the new moon? What does today feel like with it being a watery, sensitive Pisces new moon?
Today has not been my best day, but I have been living through a moment, a tumultuous, not being able to feel, a directionless moment. I have said multiple times in front of all of my friends, I'm so ready to feel as good as my intentions, because I feel like my intentions are like there. Like I'm on a big like sobriety journey and meditation journey and kind of really realigning myself and my intentions.
This is perfect time for you to set this new intention. So reframe that energy. Like Pisces rules meditation. So like this is a great time to go in deep and to really like sit with your emotional body and really meditate on that. And people get confused on what meditation is. Your type of meditation could be like talking one-on-one or some people's meditation could be like taking a nice little walk and feeling the earth beneath their feet. Water energies, they do like silence and they love their alone time. Pisces, number one, is like, don't bother me. Shh, we're talking too loud. Can we just, let's not talk. I want you to be in the same room, but let's not talk right now. Let's just feel the vibe. Let's just sit in silence and enjoy the love that surrounds us. You know, like Pisces doesn't like a lot of loud chowder.
I love chowder. Though.
Delicious.
The two fishes swimming, they like chowder.
Ani asks, does being born under a full moon mean anything? I don't know much about my chart, but I know I was born under a full moon.
Yes, it does mean something. So when your moon and your sun are directly opposite, which is 180 degrees, you have direct access to your emotions and your ego. They're like across from each other because your moon describes your emotional body, your sun describes your personality. So this could be someone who can be very sensitive with their emotions, you know, and it depends on what other aspects are to your moon from the other planets. So I would ask you, what is the relationship to your sensitivity or to your emotions? 100% it means something.
My Pisces sun makes me say wild things, but caring, but I want attention, but I'm shy because of Leo moon. Interesting, learned today. Oh, Raymondo, I love that. Also, hi on Lee, it's good to see you.
Hi on.
Yeah, no, I'm so fascinated by it. I think I've become really welcome and more aware of that Aries moon, but like, what does like Taurus rising mean? And it's kind of, there's been some like life mirrors for me, like realizing my relationship with other Tauruses and never really realizing that there was Taurus in me. But now like I'm
grounded part.
What's that?
Like the grounded part. Taurus is they're stable, able. Like you tell them to do something, they may take their time because they're slow. They're slow as molasses. They are literally the slowest signs in the zodiac. They're a turtle, you know, because they don't like anything challenging their security. Like, let me take my time. I want to master it. You know, they're master builders. But once they've gotten it, they completely like blow it out of the park. They master it. You know, but they take their time to consume it and to understand the material, whatever it is. And Buddha was a Taurus. Okay, so think Buddha. He mastered meditation and enlightenment and is one of the most top religions in the world. You know, Buddha took his time and sat in meditation for hours and hours, for days, you know, eating a grain of rice a day. I mean, talk about extreme. But he gave his life to like that craft. And you don't have to be that extreme because Buddha also lived a life of possessions and luxury. He was a prince, right? And he saw that there was actually poor people because his dad, you know, he kind of like put the veil over him where he wasn't able to see that everything was just perfect, but he saw the suffering of his people and he did not like that, you know. So Tauruses are extremely gentle sign as well, and they can be very, very giving, and they're very patient. It might not be your Aries moon because your emotional body is very reactive, but this is a part of you that you can lean on when you think you need to be a little bit more grounded, a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more in tune with the earth, and having plants and crystals. Taurus rules crystals and the earth. All over the place, so yeah. they like love crystals because it's tangible and it rules the five senses, right? So when you were talking about things on your skin, I was like, that's your Taurus. Like touch, smell, sound, and taste are very sensitive to you, more so than other things, like other people. So that Taurus energy is very sensitive to the five senses. And it's also what makes you want to be practical and question things. It's like, is this true? I don't know. What you got for me? Let's make it real, because you want it to be substantial. And it's the part, and it's a fixed sign. So it's a part of you that's kind of a little, takes time, with things, because it can be a little stubborn. But I would say that, do you have like skin issues as far as like the material that you wear on your skin and like textures and stuff?
Oh, big time. Yeah. It's not just my skin either. It's like the way something sounds, like an emery board. Somebody filing their nails makes me want to explode in every direction at once. Certain like even when he wants to be cuddly sometimes, you know what I mean? Like no. Yeah. Like it's a thing that like I dislike about myself, but in my older age I've been able to accept better. But Chris wants to rest his arm here, and within a minute and a half his arm does feel like it's 87 pounds.
Yeah.
We joke about
that would
but
be
it's
something
like,
that you would communicate with him, is like, I want to be close to you, but like there's a time limit. Like you just have to honor your level of comfortability.
And I think I'm extraordinarily lucky, and I think both of us are in really big aspects, because he is, I mean, honestly, like 2 Libras and balance, and like just at its core, right? Like there are so many aspects.
You can't make this stuff up. Libra to the core.
Yes, the most Libra. But like, I mean, but when it comes to like the things we give and take, it is about balance, and it's rarely ever balanced, but it is about finding balance. And
here's the thing I want you to know. You have to walk into disharmony to even know what harmony is. So things are going to be unbalanced, because Libras love things to be a little disorganized, because they're the ones that come in to create the harmony. If everything's harmonious, then there's a little bit of them like that feel like something's missing. So you have to be careful with that too. It's like you can, on a low road, be in that people-pleasing mode, trying to create harmony constantly 24/7 until you experience burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can realize that you created that boundary and know when to implement your skills of creating harmony and love for people in a way that's going to be, healthy.
Can you say what you said? You have to wander in disharmony to, what did you say?
Yeah, you have to go into disharmony to understand the contrasting experience of harmony. So it pushes you and wakes you up to your awareness of like that skill you have. Because if you went through your whole life, everything being harmonious, you would have no idea what disharmony is until it's experienced on a very shocking level. And then your Libra goes to work saying, what's going on? Are you okay? What can we do to solve this? Because it's the initiator, it's a cardinal energy. So like, it's like, what can we do to help you fix this? And sometimes you just need to allow the person to be in pain, because there's a teachable moment in that moment of despair for them, and to know when your advice is needed if they ask for it. But just simply being there and listen with the intent to understand, but not responding, really necessarily give advice, but just be there and listen. That's the high road of Libra. Just sit and listen.
Just sit and
Don't
listen.
try to fix, just listen.
Ooh, okay. The temptation to fix is so very real
For both of us.
Yeah.
For both of us. And
I mean, it's something that I think in our relationship is still something that we're actively working on. This idea of like, if something is wrong, or if I sense distress in Jean-Marc, the very first response I have is, what can I do to fix it?
And there's something in me that really resists being fixed right away too.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the Taurus. But I don't know. Like, it's just I have to preface a lot of my I don't have to, but we've learned that I preface a lot of my interactions of sharing something problematic with you with, I'm sharing something with you, I don't need it fixed right now.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing it.
Okay, see, yeah, because you know that why he struggles to fix things, and you're like, I don't need you to fix anything. I just need to vent. So that's a big Libra thing. They need to talk. It's an air sign. And Chris, when you have 5 planets in Libra, it needs to be expressed in some way.
Yeah.
You know, like there is this verbiage or need to be seen because your Leo's on board, saying like, well, I'm just gonna act dramatic, you know? And then you'll notice me. But it's like before it gets to that point, can you listen and stop and listen with the intent to understand? Just like you don't need to fix things.
Yeah.
I have a friend who struggles with that. She's a Leo, but has a lot of Libra. And I said, write on a piece of paper how many times you say I'm sorry and cut that shit out, because she tallied it up one time and it was like 57 times in one day. I was like, you gotta stop it. Stop being sorry for things.
Yeah.
You're operating on the people pleasing mode. She's like, gosh, I know. And she's like, I'm sorry. And I was like,
yeah, I was gonna say, and she's like, I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah.
So like I say that, like, write down, but it's not a judgment. Just write how many times you said I'm sorry or did something you did not want to do. That's a big one.
Interesting.
You did it because of that expectation of that person, and you want to be nice because you can't help it, because you want people to like you.
Yeah.
And you feel bad if you can't deliver.
Yes.
But I also say this, so like using the power of your no so your yes has any value. You start saying yes to everything, no one's going to respect your no, or, there's no definitive boundaries of that if you don't create it and say, I just don't want you. It's nothing personal, It's
saying
like you
no
tell
is so
him,
great,
like
though.
your arm resting on me hurts me, and his Leo moon's like, you just hurt my feelings, you don't love me. And it's not true. And you know that, but like your Leo is how you respond to stress, your emotional body. So your knee-jerk reaction is to feel offended and hurt and then vulnerable, and then now you want to cry in private.
Yeah.
So you get your feelings hurt easily that way. So it's like learning that about yourself and knowing that you can bring that into your awareness. You're like, oh, I'm acting that way. And then challenge yourself by saying, you're right. Thank you for letting me know. Maybe we can have a hug later, or whatever it is you want to do. I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your relationship, but like work out something that really helps with that communicating and understanding of your level of needs and wants.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating and absolutely true. Like this idea that even though I know what's going on when that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like when I have my arm around you and you're like, like
what am I like?
But like, even though I know that he doesn't mean anything by it, there's no harm in it. It's not like he doesn't want me there. Even though I know that, there's still a little part of me that goes, oh,
it hurts it's the curse of the Leo moon. I get it. Like, I know that. But that's just something you can like work on. And also, John, what you can do is give him compliments just because. Just randomly, just like, you know what? You look so good today. Like, I can't even. And you're like, oh my God, thank you. I thought I was looking like crap, but you just made my day. Like little things like that, because you can never thank Leo enough. Like, actually, when they do something at the kindness of your heart, Chris, and if someone doesn't show you gratitude to some level, it really pisses you off or hurts your feelings.
Yeah.
And you'll remember, never gonna do that again. Never gonna help you out again.
Where in the chart is the part that gets compliment and immediately negates it
no,
and tells
stop.
me that?
No, because you know what it makes me think of, though? You know what this...
Wait a minute, what happened here?
I know. You know what that specific comment makes me think of? Is like those random times when like we had one, was it yesterday?
I don't know, but it doesn't have to be specific.
It was like I was doing something and you came, I think, into the kitchen and you just like hugged me. And I was like, oh, what's that for? And you were like, I just love you. And like, honestly, like day made
your day, didn't it?
Like I was like, and it's not like he never hugs me or never says he loves me, but there was something so deliberate and so specific about this moment that like it did. I mean, it set me on fire. Like in a really positive and affirming way. I don't know. I can't describe it. Yeah.
That's because that was a combination of a lot of stuff that lit up your chart, because you're like the attention from the Leo moon, the contact because of the intimacy for the Pluto on your sun, and the Libra showing love.
Yeah.
You know, because it's the Venus sign, it's love and beauty. So like it really just was a perfect combination of just like the closeness that you felt that was authentic on a deep level. So I love that story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And you've done really good this whole time, because you have been pretty vulnerable, and your Leo's probably like, what have I done?
Well, it's interesting
what
because
saying
one of the things just
me.
one of the things just logistically that I am thinking, and I want to ask it out loud just in case anybody is wondering, but I personally would love to schedule some time with you to and I forgive me if I'm using the wrong kind of terminology, but like to go deeper a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that the right way to think about it, or is this like?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can go as you walk me into your chart, because this happens during a dialogue. I can see the potential, but it's not until we have a dialogue do I really know how this energy is expressed specifically to you. Because just because I see your sun squaring your moon and I ask you about your family life and I said, what's going on with your family? Are your parents divorced or not? I've had that same signature where some people, well, they're still together. And I'm like, should they be? And they start laughing and they're like, no. So I can see that there's tension in that family, but I don't know how it is specific to you.
Yeah.
Until we have that dialogue. So like, if you ever gotten like a horoscope reading from, like you paid something and they do a little printout and then you read it and it's like, well, this is bullshit. I don't know what they're talking about. Because that energy is so generic because it's showing up in a way that isn't very concrete or specific until they know your life story.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested in finding out more, because even in just this little amount of time tonight, I feel like it's opened my mind and my heart up to explore things on a more kind of not truthful. I don't want to say truthful like I'm always not being truthful, but like on a more truthful level.
Yeah, I get that. I was the same way. Like I totally understand that. Like when you were asking me about my relationship with astrology and how I got into it, as any gay person out there, there is this, where do I fit in, cloud above their head. How has this affected, my relationship with myself and the people in it? What are my family going to think? I mean, you're exposed to that at such a young age, gay people in general, or like anybody struggling with their sexuality or something that they think is wrong with themselves, or like maybe even someone trans and they feel like they're stuck in the wrong body or whatever it is. And it really makes you ask the hard questions at a young age to figure out what is your soul path. And I think that's what really did it for me, was like, I wanted to use astrology as a tool to take you out of self-suppression and confusion and help self-actualize, support you in actualization, and give you some directives, and to give you an understanding that you're not a mistake, that there's nothing wrong with you, you're not crazy, that there are reasons that you have certain energies or gifts that you are scared to express because of maybe your environment or how you were brought up or your belief system. And you're not really sure what your own values are because you got lost in jumping through the hoops of everyone else's approval. And that's what my intention is with my birth chart reading, is how can you find you? Can we bridge the gap between the two and help you kind of like understand a little bit more about yourself? Yeah. Because it starts with you. I get a lot of people asking me about relationships, people have different intentions of why they get in a birth chart reading. A lot of it's like, am I going to find love? Well, I ask you, like, what is your nature of your relationship? Do you want to find love? If I'm sitting here and you're talking about these stories where you victimize yourself the entire time, it's like you're putting out the energy that you don't want anybody to come close to you. You know? So ask you again, what do you want in a relationship? Why do you want a relationship? Is it just because you want to feel loved, or is it because that's what everyone else is doing and you feel like you're wasting your time and you're getting older and you just want someone to pay you attention? You know, you're never going to find the authentic love you want until it starts with you.
Yeah.
So when you start getting in alignment with your higher self, that's where I come in and kind of guide you to understand the nature of your energies. Then you can kind of do the rest yourself. You know, I'm not here to tell you what to do or saying that you should act this way or this is who you are and put you in a box like we talked about at the beginning. I give you the free will button and the reminder that, hey, you made a promise and there are certain cycles in your life that will hold you to that promise.
Yeah.
You know, directives from the universe that say either straighten up or that relationship goes, that relationship's gone. Those are the Saturn cycles when you have your Saturn return around 29 and 60. So like that's a big marker in your life. If you're on your soul's path, you know, what happened during that time? Was it something detrimental or something that supported you where you got married or you had a kid or something like that, or you graduated and you're finally at your dream job, you know? So there are certain guidance and signatures that I use. Some people do predictive and relationship astrology. I'm more of a let's go deep and talk about you.
Yeah. No, I love it. Ooh.
Sorry. Gain is
Not everybody's comfortable with that. There are some people that just don't want to go there.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, I mean, we've uncovered a lot of why I love that. Because
Photo on the sun.
Yeah, I just love that one-on-one kind of connection. But I do feel like I do feel like I haven't had a time recently where I've kind of just
introspected.
Yeah. I mean, that's put it that yeah, but I was gonna say dove in like to myself. Like I love that you talk about the things that are really sticking out to me, Alan, are this talk of potential. I love the word potential and everything that it means in this conversation. And the other thing that sticks out to me is when you say I'm connecting you with you. Because I don't think that I have really in recent years paid a lot of attention to that.
Yeah. It's a reminder that you matter. That's why I said.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's so funny.
You can't express that enough. You are enough. And we never feel like we're enough. Every day, all day, there's something that we pick apart by ourselves. We spend so much time saying something negative that when people give us a compliment, they're like, is something wrong? Yeah. You know, like we immediately feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, or I mean, a part of us is like, oh yeah, thank you for noticing. But there's also that voice in your head. I'm just like, who pays that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Talking in your head all day. And like, what's the freaking button to shut him up, you know, or her up, or, you know, it up, whatever it is. But like, you're like, we do that to ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's like when you finally can put that little man that speaks in your head in his seat and says, okay, I'm in control here. I want to decide the direction in my life that I want to be, and realize that you are enough. And it takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that will always be a struggle to some, you know, certain extent, but it's when we come together as a community and are be able to feel like we can express ourselves and be vulnerable. You know, as Brene Brown said, it's our greatest measure of courage, you know, like to expose ourselves and to be judged and be seen and be okay with that, regardless of what people are going to say and think about you. It's a very hard thing to do, you know, because we live our lives on social media and we live our lives wanting to be seen, but then we're so scared about what people are really seeing that we hide parts of ourselves that make us who we are, and we don't want no one to see those sides. But then we are complaining about, well, nobody gets me. I was like, well, you're showing people parts of you that no one has seen, so they can't get you.
It's a perception thing. This is the perception that I want people to have of me and my life. And I think that that's one of the biggest hindrances that social media has kind of placed on our current society, because there was a time when everybody just minded their own business and nobody, nobody really like cared about what was going on in someone's life. And now, talk about being an actor and getting online and comparing yourself constantly to everyone else's perception of what their life is.
Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
It's just been an incredible conversation.
Alan, thank you so much.
Like I am so thankful that you invited me and was open enough to have this conversation.
Yeah. Are you kidding? The
Easy
honor
for
is
everybody
ours
to be seen and heard, but everybody craves it, but are scared to actually be seen or like feel like they're allowed to take up space. I've met a lot of shy Leos who hated attention, and that's a big indicator. I'm like, beep, 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 beep. I'm like, what happened to you? And then I start talking about their childhood and what happened then, and they were told that they were too much, that they were too hyper, and they learned to close their excitement down to when anytime they're in the middle of something, they don't raise their hand, they don't. And I'm like, you got to cut that out. I was like, a Leo's job is to be seen. If you have Leo in your chart, you want to be seen. It is healthy to have an ego. It's healthy to be able to say, I'm here and I'm here to inspire. That's the highest level of Leo's. Like, I want to inspire.
Yeah.
I want you to, because it rules the heart and spine. So it's brave and it has a beautiful heart and it's loyal to the people that they care about 100%. And they will fight tooth and nail for the people they care about. But as soon as they're being judged and seen because they're the ones who stick their nose in everyone's business, just because they're the brave ones, they take on the responsibility.
Yeah.
And as soon as someone says something and it hurts their feelings, then they either lash out in anger, or they are shy, or they tone down their fire until it disappears. I've seen that in a lot of people's charts where I try to give the Leo back their flame, and sometimes it can be hard because you can't unpack everything in an hour. Our session's only an hour.
Right.
And I have a hard time not worrying about the money part, and I'm so concerned about let's have another session. And I'm not, I'm missing Earth, so I have no business skills. So I'm trying to learn how can I help people with creating a boundary without getting so caught up, because I leave that session, I'm like, that person probably needs therapy because I can't give them everything in that one session because they're so hurt and they've had sexual abuse or just terrible stories and people dying left and right. And I can only give them so much directives to where I'm like, you need help.
Yeah.
Well,
and I hate those times. I hate not being able to give more.
I think that's like an extraordinarily responsible response though to that, to recognize like when it's time for somebody for other help. Because we struggle with the same thing, and so many Twitch streamers are welcoming are kind of sponges to people's feelings and how people are doing, and there is a solid line in the sand that we all have to come up with for ourselves of what is more than I'm able to help you with. Even in our Discord, we weren't able to facilitate a venting section where people could just vent whatever they wanted to, because things would be said that obviously needed attention from somebody who is able to provide it, and no one on a social level should provide that sort of thing, right? But Alan,
I let people know, I was like, I am not a clinical therapist.
right.
I'm like, I cannot give you prescriptions. I can give you guidance and advice if you ask for it, but I let people know I am not a trained therapist. I was trained by a psychologist, but what I do is more of unconventional therapy, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea that I think that I'm a psychologist because I am not.
Well, it's this
I've never taken
idea.
a psychology course. This is completely intuition, authentic, just genuine love and concern about who you are as a person.
It's
And
the idea
using
of
astrology as that tool.
putting you in touch with you, so that then you can go and work on yourself in a healthy and productive way, whatever that means for you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, and
Yeah.
if that means therapy, and if that means, I mean, but that's, well, I could go on and on and on.
Right.
I know.
And we're
at
kind of
time.
are at time because there's some folks here that should have their nights back. So like all of our mods and Sulky and the folks that have been running It Gets Better, I thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great meeting you all, and thank you for this time.
Oh,
I hope everyone enjoyed it.
like if I don't know what part of it in my chart it is that's already like thinking of ways that we can just beg and plead for you to come back and be a part of the stuff going on at 2Gays1Twitch and even maybe here at It Gets Better.
I want to
So
be a part of that positive movement and like, creating that safe space where we can like, have those types of conversations.
yeah.
I totally would love to be able to do that. And then we can ask, people who might already know their sun, moon, and rising, and I can, give them a little bit of, a quick mini read for like 5 minutes.
I love that. I love that. Alan, if you want
Put
to
the
hang out,
coupon code again, just in case someone.
Oh,
forgot.
thank you.
yes. It's Astrology Pie 30, everybody. And I will, if it's okay with you, I'll share that amidst the folks that I know were here as well too, just in case they're not looking at the screen at the moment. If you want to hang out on Zoom for just a moment, Alan, you're more than welcome. I'd love to thank you in numerous ways. But I am going to jump over to the other screen just so that we can say goodnight to all of our folks here at It Gets Better. I don't know if we are rating anybody. Sulky will be the one in charge of all of that. But we'll find out. Here we go. I'm sharing all the screens at the same time. There we go. This was so good. Thank you so much, Alan.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're very welcome, and I hope that all your viewers and everyone enjoy themselves as well.
I think it's kind of like, like when everybody's really enjoying the meal, everybody gets kind of quiet. It seems like one of those nights. Like, I mean, just like the conversation was just like really, really wonderful, spectacular, and so insightful from your perspective. And I mean, it's just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, I want to know so much more.
Oh yeah, it is. And it's like you have the power. That's the biggest takeaway for that. Like, you are in control of your life. Remember that.
Well, it looks like
Ellie of Beach.
we are going to be rating Ellie here. Alan, like I said, if you would like to hang out in the Zoom call, I will be there in just a few moments. If you got to go, that's okay too. I'll reach out to you. But everybody else, if you don't already follow It Gets Better, please go ahead and hit that button. Hit the follow button. Tell people about this incredible organization that is spreading a message of hope all over the world. Just interacting with the stream, interacting with the Twitter and the Instagrams helps so much. And of course, you can go visit It Gets Better's website to see how you could also possibly be a part of the story yourselves. I hear they're looking for blog writers. So get out there, do the amazing things. So much love to all of you. Yay, new follower.
Yay.
Astrology Pie.
Done and done.
So much love to all of you. Have fun with Ellie. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. All the buttons. Gotta push them all.